Chapter 101. After casually killing the remaining 2 green pythons, Will looked at Garcia, who was struggling and screaming on the ground. Garcia was sprayed on his chest and face by the venom of the forest green python. The skin on his chest was corroded, and the internal organs inside could already be seen. Half of the face on the left side has disappeared, revealing the severe skull underneath. Garcia, as our captain, you keep talking about sincerity, trust, and unity, but unexpectedly you are the most despicable and cowardly guy, abandoning your teammates time and time again. Will looked at Garcia with contempt. The toxin of the forest green python, even Will suffered a big loss. Garcia's strength is far inferior to Will's, and his physical fitness is not even a fraction of Will's. After being poisoned by the green python in the forest, he is doomed. In this world, only the strong are everything. Garcia knew that he would die, so he gave up struggling. Then how do you feel about being killed by someone as a weak person? Will was extremely disappointed with Garcia. No one is absolutely strong, no one is omnipotent, only unity, gathering all only with the power of a person can we overcome all difficulties. Haha, if you don't hide your strength, as the captain, we can all successfully enter the Jello Potion Academy. Garcia stared at Will. You are the one who really killed Sir and Pulley. You think so? Will didn't object. What Garcia said was indeed somewhat reasonable, and he was also somewhat responsible for the deaths of Searle and Pulley, but Will did not regret it. For strength, for survival, I will use any means. Garcia's voice became weaker and weaker. I understand. Will nodded. A poor, pathetic, and hateful guy. Although he betrayed me and killed Searle and Pulley, I forgive you. What? Garcia, who was already dying, suddenly widened his eyes. Will looked up at the blue sky, a breeze blew by, the branches swayed, and thousands of green leaves were rustling. It's not you who's wrong, it's the world. Will looked at Garcia, who was about to die, with pity. What did you say? If I hadn't had the 9-year compulsory education, hadn't been influenced by the 8 honors and 8 shame, and hadn't been taught by the martyrs of the past. Will's eyes were deep, and the memories of the past came back to his mind. It's just like you. I was taught by my parents to be the weak and the strong, I was poisoned by the feudal spirit, and I didn't receive the education of advanced ideas. I'm afraid I will embark on the same path as you. There are too many people like Garcia in this world. There are too many to count. So much so that if all such people were killed, the human race would be reduced by more than 99%. And all this is not because of the inferiority of human beings, but because the world is wrong, and the world has to change. Will believes that if everyone receives a 9-year compulsory education, and everyone is influenced by progressiveness, just like in his previous life, then people like him will spring up like mushrooms in this world. In the past, there were countless people who thought like me and acted like me. Will sighed. Once upon a time, I was just an inconspicuous person among thousands of people, but in this world, I found that my thoughts and actions, in the eyes of others, turned out to be like a saint and the Virgin. Is it because I'm too kind? No. Will is just an ordinary guy. But this ordinary person is not an ordinary person with a world of knights and wizards, but an ordinary person on that water-blue planet. So, you don't have to feel guilty. All your mistakes, all the pain and evil in the world are the fault of the world. Will stared at Garcia with redemptive eyes. Madman. Garcia closed his eyes forever. Well. Will shook his head. People in this world really can't understand? Will opened his arms, embracing the sky. I just want to restore the world to what it should have been. One day, everyone will understand me. However, Will is not a fool. In this world, theories alone will not work. Even if your theory is correct, it will be vulnerable to powerful evil forces. Will knows that power is necessary to achieve the ideal in his heart and build a harmonious, equal, and free world. We have to eat one bite at a time, and we have to take one step at a time on the road. First become a third-class wizard apprentice, and after life is safe, we will consider the next details and arrangements. Will closed his eyes. To achieve my goals, Lanling is a good support. For a long time, Will was ignorant of the blue spirit system. At this moment, there is finally a glimmer of progress. Blue spirit. A translucent interface appeared in front of Will, in the column of Yuan Li, on the record of obtaining Yuan Li. Gain 5 points of power. Gain 5 points of power. Gain 4 points of power. Gain 12 points of origin force. It is easy to understand that killing a green spirit will give you 5 to 6 points of source power. Different races have different lifespans. Like the 4-armed ghost ape, it can live for 300 years, so killing one gets 30 points of source power. Trolls can live for 150 years, so killing a troll costs 15 points of source power. Since there are races that live much longer than humans, there are naturally races that live much shorter than humans. Green essence is one of them. The lifespan of a green spirit is only 40 or 50 years old. A 50-year-old green spirit is equivalent to an 80-year-old human being. Green spirits grow and develop much faster than their shorter lives. Green spirits are fully developed at the age of 10, while humans need to be around 20 years old. Moreover, green spirits can reproduce at the age of 6 or 7. Let's not worry about the lifespan of the green spirit. The important thing is, what is the 12 points of source power? During the fierce battle just now, Will didn't pay attention to the source of his soul power. But it's not hard to guess. It's the green forest python. Will looked at the dead green forest python's body, but I killed 3 green forest pythons in total? Why did only one give me source power? The source power should be given by the old green spirit's green python. Then why? Strength? Soul strength? Or because of the old green spirit? Will thought for a while, and combined all kinds of previous guesses and the object of the source power. He had a relatively reliable idea in his mind. It should be related to wisdom. The more Will thought about it, the more he felt that this guess was correct. Only by killing a life with a certain level of intelligence can one gain source power, and the amount of source power obtained is related to the lifespan of the creature killed. It should be like this. Will nodded to himself. As for whether this conjecture is correct, Will is too lazy to care. Anyway, it can be used. After closing the Landling system interface, Will took a look at the sky. It's getting late, we only have 3 days, we can't waste any more. Will picked up the backpack that was snatched by Garcia, cut off the poison sacs of the 3 green pythons in the forest, and then turned over the body of the green spirit that was shattered into pieces. Well, it's disgusting. Will pinched his nose, held a small wooden stick, and moved it among the minced meat with an ugly face. Is this a map? Will picked up the map and pulled it away. It's much clearer than what the Academy envoy gave us. Will's eyes lit up. Wash the map and put it away. Dig out the undigested sorrel from the green python's stomach, buried sorrel, pulley, and Garcia, and after praying 3 times, he walked in the direction of the Jello Potions Academy again. Chapter 102. Shoo-la-la. As the branches in front of them swayed for a while, 3 people wearing black wizard apprentice robes immediately stared at them vigilantly, ready to fight at any time. Wow! Will popped out of the bushes in a jiffy. Looking at the 3 people guarding him, Will raised his hands to show that he was not malicious. I'm a student going to Jello Potions Academy. This is my invitation letter. Who are you? Will took out the invitation letter from the academy and asked. Is there no one to lead? Anyone can find the academy by themselves? Idiot, it must be someone who accidentally transplanted the demon seed outside. Every year, 1 or 2 people who pass the test come in. One of the more stable men walked towards Will. The man took the invitation letter, looked at it twice, and returned it to Will. Hi, my name is Monty, and I'm also a student of Jello Potions Academy. Monty stretched out his hand to Will. Nice to meet you, my name is Will. Will held Monty's hand with a happy face. If you don't mind, I can lead you the way. Monty extended a friendly olive branch to Will. I'm sorry to trouble you. Will didn't expect that the people of Jello School of Potions would be so friendly and hospitable. Wait, I'll bring it. Another man among the 3 was anxious. Monty, do you want to eat alone? Another woman said. I'm afraid of you. I don't want the reward for today's patrol. I will share it with you. Is it okay? Monty said. 1 more meal. That's right, 1 more meal. That's it. Monty pulled Will and left quickly, as if he was afraid that Will would be snatched away. After walking for a distance, the other 2 figures could not be seen. Monty stopped and explained to Will, we are the patrollers near the college, guiding the lost students is also one of our tasks, and we can get quite generous rewards, we are just helping each other, so you don't need to thank me. Monty's sincerity immediately won Will's favor. Are you also a student of Jello Potions Academy? Will looked at the black robe on Monty. My demon seed is Le Hobeo, a second-class wizard apprentice. Maybe we will perform missions together in the future. Monty laughed. If given the chance. Monty introduced some basic knowledge about Gerald Potion's Academy to Will as he walked. There are a total of 172 people in the entire academy, and there are 13 people who are third-class wizard apprentices or above. So little? Will raised his eyes. The college has trained a lot of third-class wizard apprentices, but these are the only ones who are willing to stay in the college. On the surface, there are 13 of them, but in fact, there are only about 10 permanent residents in the college. Is that so? Zero Potions Academy was much smaller than Will imagined. There are 3 official wizards in our academy, including the principal, the vice principal, and the only potionist. Monty continued to explain to Will, but it is impossible for you to see the principal, only the first wizard 17 years ago. It happened once in the 1000th anniversary celebration. It is rumored that after becoming an official wizard, the life expectancy can be greatly extended. It really is true. Will sighed. Once promoted to an official wizard, the lifespan will be extended to 300 years. As the cultivation becomes stronger, the lifespan can be further extended, and we. Monty sighed, patted Will on the shoulder and said, "Don't think so much, let's talk about becoming a third-class wizard apprentice first." For Will and other wizard apprentices who gained power through transplanting demon seeds, the third-class wizard apprentices are a hurdle. Chatting and chatting, the two came to an ancient and vicissitudes of the city wall. There was no one guarding the gate. Inside the wall, there are buildings standing silently, without a trace of human habitation. Monty saw the doubts in Will's heart, so he explained, "The buildings on the ground are just used to cover up. The real academy is underground." "So that's how it is." Will nodded, not surprised either. Enter a tall black tower. The entrance is often changed, you will know later. Monty took out a badge, with an old castle carved on the front and Zero Potions Academy engraved on the back, which was exactly the same as the badge in Rep's relics. Monty held the badge in both hands, chanting strange syllables. The badge lights up slightly. On the ground, walls, and ceiling, black shadows unexpectedly appeared, and the black shadows moved quickly on the walls of the tower. Monty bit his finger and wiped the blood on the badge. "Will, put some blood on it, hurry up," Monty urged. After Will smeared the badge with blood, Monty placed the badge in the center of the ancient tower, then pulled Will back quickly, and didn't stop until he retreated to the entrance of the ancient tower. The black shadows flowed in the wall like ink, converging towards the emblem. A door made of unknown bones rose slowly from the watery shadows, and on the top of the door stood a black crow. "Student Monty, Student Will, welcome back." Crow's voice was hoarse and piercing. "Thank you, Mr. Wagner." Monty bowed to the crow. Will also imitated Monty and bowed to the crow named Wagner. "Step into the door." Obviously it looks like just a door frame, but when you cross the threshold, everything changes. In a blink of an eye, Will found that he was in a deep passage, with marble stairs leading to the depths at his feet, and oil lamps were lit at intervals on both sides. Looking back, the stairs stretched along the top until they were swallowed by darkness, as if there was no end. "Don't look back." Monty gave Will a hand. "In the future, don't look back, and don't try to turn back. If you accidentally get stuck on the endless stairs, you will be in trouble." "Never-ending stairs?" Will was taken aback. "Yeah, once you're stuck, you'll never be able to get out." Monty nodded in horror. As if wanting to get away from this position quickly, Monty walked down the stairs quickly. "Come to the end of the stairs and set foot on the flat ground." Monty's complexion improved a bit. "There are too many dangerous and mysterious things in the academy. Don't wander around places you don't know about." Monty warned, "For those dangerous rumors, if you don't know the truth, it's best to believe them and act accordingly." "Wonderful. I will." There are so many unknowns in the wizarding world. Will didn't want to lose his life because of a little curiosity. As for those rumors and customs, it doesn't matter whether they are true or not, as long as it doesn't affect his becoming stronger or damage his interests, it doesn't matter if he does it. "Let me take you to the entrance examination first." Monty led the way. The entrance examination is required for every student. It is a very important link. It is related to our future development, so we must treat it with caution. Monty said seriously. Seeing Monty's serious expression, Will asked quickly. "I don't know if there is a trick?" "Don't worry, since you've come here, if nothing happens, you can stay 100%. Monty smiled, the test process is just to evaluate your fusion with the demon species and your mental strength. It's not very important. Monty's tone suddenly became mysterious, the most important thing is to choose a mentor. Chapter 103. The test officer will select 3 mentors for you to choose from based on your overall score. Monty explained to Will, following a good mentor will have a great impact on your subsequent development. Who are the mentors? Will asked. The mentors are generally third-class wizard apprentices, and there are also second-class wizard apprentices, but they are all born with awakened blood and knowledgeable people. If you are accidentally selected, don't panic. Monty said. Next, Monty told Will about some of the mentors he knew. The two walked in the dark underground passage, with flickering oil lamps burning on both sides, and weird and mysterious patterns carved on the walls. As Monty said, the academy is extremely small. The two walked for more than half an hour, only to meet 3 or 2 people, and everyone passed by in a hurry without a single greeting. Think about it and know. Most of the students in the Jiluo Potion Academy obtained their abilities through transplanting demon seeds, and they were born with a limited lifespan. You don't know when you die, and if you don't race against time to become stronger, how can you have time to meddle in your own business? We walked for more than half an hour. Although we walked a little slower and turned around a lot, the straight line distance is almost 1 kilometer, right? Will marveled at the size of the underground academy. It's not clear whether this place is located underground in those buildings in the Intis forest. Monty pouted. Although Montwell entered the academy a few years earlier than Will, his understanding of the academy is only a few basics. The more advanced ones are not accessible to Monty at this level, and he has no time to touch them. Led by Monty, Will came to a wooden door engraved with exquisite patterns. At the door, there were 3 people lined up. This is the entrance examination room for freshmen. After entering, don't talk nonsense, don't move around, and answer all questions truthfully. Monty warned. I see. Will was speechless. Monty repeated this sentence several times. I'm not scaring you. Every year, there are students who don't know the depth, which leads to Monty knocked his head, I became stupid after coming out, and I don't know what happened inside. For Will, everything in Jero Potions Academy is mysterious. But in Monty's view, why not? After a while, it was Will's turn. I'm waiting for you at the exit. Will nodded to Monty, opened the heavy wooden door, and walked into the testing room. Crunch! Behind Will, the wooden door slowly closed, and Will's eyes fell into darkness. After standing there for a while, a thin white line appeared under his feet, leading forward and sinking into the darkness. Same as Monty said. Will walked forward along the thin line. Da-da-da. The sound of crisp footsteps spread in the darkness. Call. It was as if a gust of wind had blown by. Candles were lit silently, floating around Will. Elsewhere, it was still dark. Sit. Suddenly, a table appeared in front of him. Judging from the appearance of the long table, there should be 2 seats, but at this moment there is only 1 person sitting on the left side, and a person in a black robe whose face cannot be seen clearly. Will took the chair that suddenly appeared beside him, and sat down upright. Did you see and hear anything along the way? The hoarse and piercing voice of the black shadow came from all around, like the poor artificial voice of the previous life. No. What about footsteps? Heard it. Is there an echo? From what direction? Will thought about it carefully, there is an echo, coming from the left and right in front. How many people are there in your eyes now? 1. Are there any other tables around? How many? Will looked around carefully, and in the darkness, he could indeed see the shadows of some tables. Besides the one where you are sitting, there are 3 other tables, but they are very blurry. Will replied honestly. Which directions are my voices coming from? Where you sit. Count how many candles there are. After the number of candles seen in the Will newspaper, the black shadow took a pen and scribbled on the table. Choose one of the 3 to be your mentor. In the darkness, like a projection, 3 huge light curtains suddenly appeared, and a figure stood on each light curtain. Will took a deep breath, knowing that the most critical moment had come. Excuse me, can you introduce me to the 3 tutors? As Will expected, there was no response. Will focused on the 3 light curtains. On the left is a sturdy man dressed in tight leather armor, carrying a bow, and holding a sword. He looks like a hunter. In the middle is a man with a long face and a certain age, who can be seen as a man with a violent personality. On the right is a woman with a slender figure and a pointed wizard hat, half of her face is covered by the hat, and she can't see clearly. I learned from Monty that, generally speaking, the person in the middle is the best and most suitable. The man in the middle, named Bloom, is a powerful third-class wizard apprentice. His strength can be said to be the first person under the official wizard, and his strength is extremely powerful. Monty once said to Will that if Bloom appears as a mentor candidate, then even if the other person is the dean, Bloom must be chosen. Not because Bloom is powerful. It's because Bloom is fully fused with 5 kinds of demons. Regarding the concept and research of demon seeds, it ranks first in the academy, and although Bloom may not look like a good person, he is actually a good person. Especially those like Will who accidentally merged with the demon species outside and entered the school through special channels. Bloom is rumored to have entered the school in the same way. However, Will's eyes turned to the woman on the right. "I choose her," Will said, pointing to the light curtain on the right. The figure wrote something on the desktop, and passed his hand forward. A piece of paper with various information and a key appeared in front of Will out of thin air. Will took the key and the paper from the air. "After you get out, go to your mentor." Just when Will was wondering how to leave, the surrounding candles suddenly extinguished and disappeared, and the room suddenly brightened. It turned out that the testing room was nothing more than a long and narrow room of 10 square meters. At the end of the room, there was a table, and a middle-aged man with a pale face was sitting behind the table. Will is now sitting on the other side of the table, with 3 photos in order in front of him. "What happened just now?" Will was shocked. The tester glanced at Will. Will hurriedly got up with his things. "I'm sorry for your trouble." "Then go to a small door on the left at the end of the passage." When he was about to leave, Will turned his head and found that a freshman waiting for the test entered the room. The freshman hugged his body tightly and looked around in horror. "The me just now, did I also look like this ridiculous?" Will has a little understanding of the mystery and power of wizards. Boom. "Leave the room." Outside the door, Monty greeted him. Chapter 104. Which mentor did you choose? Monty asked immediately as soon as he came forward. "Mr. Volteri," Will replied. "Ah? Did you choose this lord?" Monty frowned. Although Mrs. Vertelli is a powerful official wizard and the only potion master in the academy, but Monty is obviously not optimistic about Will's choice. While leading the way for Will, Monty introduced the main characters in the academy to Will one by one. Among them, Wizard Vertelli is the only 3 official wizards in the academy. When the dean is away all year round, Wizard Vertelli is the second in command in the academy. And because Wizard Vertelli is a potionist, more than 90% of the potions in the academy are produced by Wizard Vertelli, and even Vice Principal Rudolph has to be careful. Potion is a medicine that contains magic power and has various effects. Blackstock solution is also a kind of potion, but it is a secondary potion, or the lowest level of secondary potion. Generally speaking, only official wizards can become real potion masters and can refine real potions. I'm very interested in pharmacy, and I think I can learn more from Mentor Volteri. Will explained. Master Vertley is indeed a wise person, and her potion level is in the entire eastern continent, and she is also one of the top 3 great figures. Monty's words were full of longing. Monty carefully looked around and found no one, so he whispered in Will's ear. Mistress Vertley, every year, recruits 1 or 2 new students to handle and store medicines for her, and help her in the process of refining medicines. You can indeed learn a lot of knowledge about pharmacy by the side of Lord Vertelli, many of which can only be learned by paying magic stones, and when you need to use medicines for advanced level, Lord Vertley will also give you certain discounts. Under normal circumstances, even if you have no knowledge of pharmacy, Lady Vertelli is the best choice. But we don't have that much time. Monty shrugged his shoulders, his words were full of helplessness. I chose Lady Vertelli, and I have to spend a lot of time disposing of the medicine for her. Although I can learn a lot, there is no direct reward. Perhaps because he was afraid of being heard, Monty did not continue. But Will already understood what Monty meant. Will is 19 years old this year, and he is only a first-class wizard apprentice. If Will can't cross the 2 major classes within 11 years and become a third-class wizard apprentice, then all that awaits Will is death. The situation of other people who transplanted the demon seed will not be much better than Will. Like Monty, who is a few years older than Will and looks about 24 or 5 years old. If he fails to advance within 6 years, he will only die. In such a situation where every second counts and every effort is made to become stronger, where is the kung fu to learn potions? Although there will be some discounts when purchasing advanced drugs, if you choose other teachers, you can use your spare time to do tasks outside to earn magic stones. Bloom is the best candidate for a mentor like Will who transplants demon seeds. However, if you are an awakened bloodline person without the restriction of a 30-year lifespan, then choosing Wizard Vertelli is naturally the best choice. Forget it, since I've already chosen, I can't hit you too hard. Monty patted Will on the shoulder. Where do you live? A wooden plaque hangs over the key. C06? We'll read the number engraved on the plaque. What a coincidence, I'm also in Area C, my room is C11, let's go together. Said, Monty led the way. I still have to report to my mentor. Will chased after him and said. Don't worry, the class will start tomorrow, and you will have time to find a tutor today. Monty looked at Will, are you sure you want to meet the tutor in this way? During the 3 days when Will came to the academy from Nook Town, he experienced all kinds of sinister battles. Now Will is covered in blood, mud, and stains, and exudes a stench all over his body. The hair was sticky in pieces, and tiny black bugs were crawling around in the hair. With Will's dirty appearance now, it is already a miracle that he was not disgusted by Monty and the test officer. It's the first time I meet my mentor, and it's better to make a good impression on Wizard Valtteri, who is famous for his neatness, Monty said. Exactly. Will also knew he was in a hurry. Along the way, Monty introduced Will about the accommodation. The dormitory area in the college is divided into 4 areas, A, B, C, and D. Area A is for mentors, and lives with extremely talented people. In another place, it probably has no intersection with us. B, C, and D are in the same place, B is on the first floor, C is on the second floor, and D is on the third floor. There is no essential difference between the 3 accommodation areas. After a while, I came to the accommodation area. The dormitory area is very empty, with 99 rooms on each floor, but along the way, Will didn't see many people. Except for freshmen who have to study in school for a year, most of the other students will go out to do tasks to earn magic stones. Monty explained to Will, I also because I am studying 1 and advanced 3 waiting for the advanced courses related to wizard apprentices before staying in the academy. Go down the stairs and come to Area C on the 2nd floor of the accommodation area. Here, this is your room. Monty continued to walk forward, my room is at C11 a little ahead. After you put away your things and take a shower, come to my room and find me. Thank you. Click. Open the old wooden door, inside, is a damp room. Light the oil lamp. Will looked around. A bed, a table and chairs, a wardrobe, and a bookshelf, a bathroom and a small sealed room with various glassware in it. The room is not too small, but it is a bit damp, and because it has not been cleaned all year round, it is covered with a layer of dust. There are 3 books on the bookshelf. Jello Potion Academy School Regulations, Structure Diagram of the Internal Parts of the Academy, Course Selection and Promotion will put the books back on the bookshelf. These 3 books are the most basic knowledge. When you come back later, you must read them thoroughly, but for now, you should see your instructor first. Although Monty said that there was no need to be in a hurry, Will couldn't wait to meet the legendary official wizard. The reason why Will chose Wizard Valtteri as his mentor, 1, as he said to Monty before, he is very interested in potions. 2nd, it was because Vertelli was an official wizard. For me, other people's arduous and long training process is almost non-existent. All I need to consider is how to advance. Put down the equipment on your back and body, and open the wardrobe. Inside the closet were 2 sets of black wizard apprentice robes. The apprentice robe should be new, but it looks a bit old because it has been placed for too long. Chapter 105. Tuk Tuk. After taking a bath, Will put on the wizard's apprentice robe and knocked on the door of Monty's dormitory. Crunch. The door opened, and Monty had a helpless expression. It's less than 10 minutes. Monty said speechlessly. Hey, I'm not a little too excited. I want to see the mentor soon. Will rubbed the back of his head and smiled silly. Monty understood Will's mood and didn't blame him. Have you brought the test form? Monty asked after closing the door. Bring it. Under Monty's leadership, Will stood in front of a bronze gate. This is the office room of Wizard Vertelli, so be careful. Monty feared the official wizard from the bottom of his heart. The strength and longevity of official wizards are completely above that of ordinary people. The so-called official wizard is just a kind of human appearance, but it is actually a powerful creature that surpasses human beings. Will stood nervously at the bronze door alone, and Monty watched Will from a distance. Ah! After taking a deep breath, Will pulled up the iron ring and gently knocked on the door. Bang! The voice was so low and deep that Will's heart throbbed with it. After the sound disappeared, there was a long silence. When Will was thinking about knocking on the door again, he was surprised to find that the iron ring held in his right hand seemed to have life. The iron ring in his hand slipped and turned into a thin black snake, binding Will's right arm round and round. Ah! Will was startled, and was about to kill the black snake. Suddenly, Will remembered Monty's words, "Don't panic if anything unusual happens. This is the Gerald Potions Academy, and the door of the room of Lord Viardley, what am I afraid of?" Thinking of this, Will felt much more at ease. Just feeling the cool feeling on the arm, I was still a little scared in my heart. The black snake took a light bite on Will's arm, and then turned into an iron ring again, as if nothing had happened. "Come in." A pleasant female voice sounded in Will's mind. Quack quack. The bronze gate opens inwards. Will hesitated, then stepped in. Inside the door, it is unusually wide. At a glance, there are shelves more than 10 meters high, on which are various bottles, jars and medicinal ores. Some Will knew, and many he hadn't even heard of. In the ear, wonderful music sounded. Suddenly, there was a clear understanding in Will's heart. Is this the power of a wizard? Will walked along the direction of the music, all the way zigzagging. The strange thing is that Will didn't get lost. After walking for about 5 minutes, the surrounding shelves became shorter and smaller. What is placed on the shelf is no longer medicinal materials, but books. Glancing at the cover of the book, Will was surprised to find that, except for a very small part of the words written in the Holy Empire language, most of the words on the cover of the book were some strange shaped characters. Looking all the way down, there are more than a dozen kinds. Wizard, do you still need to know so many words? In order to have normal classes at Gerald Potion Academy, the Holy Empire language is a must, because the people in the academy all speak the Holy Empire language, and the books are written in the Holy Empire language. But if you want to go further, you need to know more words. Long Wen, Hai Wen, Bai Wen, Elf Wen. In the long history of this world, there are too many types of writing. In addition to some created by humans, there are also various races created. Many of those races are older and stronger than humans. Although they have all disappeared in the long river of history, human beings have benefited a lot from the written knowledge they left behind. You came. A pleasant voice woke Will from his surprise. The sound came from a desk, which was filled with various materials. A woman dressed as a witch in a fairy tale, wearing a black wizard robe and a pointed wizard hat, sat behind the desk. Wizard Voltaire looked like a mature woman in her mid-20s, with fair skin and 2 pointed ears protruding from her green hair. It looks like an elf in a fairy tale, as beautiful as a dream. Teacher Verdelli stretched out her hand to Will, and the test form in Will's hand floated into her hand. The demon seed is the eye of truth? Purified blood? Isn't it pure monster flesh and blood? Verdelli looked up at Will. You have chosen a dangerous path. The body has fully accepted the radiation of the demon seed, and has reached the peak level of a first-class wizard apprentice. The mental talent is good, and it has actually reached the peak of a second-level wizard apprentice. Mental perception is a little low? Only second class? With such a strong mental power, generally speaking, the perception should be above the 5th grade, right? Vertley put down the test form. I already know almost your specific information. From now on, I will be your mentor. A badge floated from the desk and fell into Will's hand. This is your badge. When something happens, I will notify you through the badge. If you need to find me, you can also contact me through the badge. I will respond. Saying that, Verdelli wiped the table with her hand. 3 books appeared on the desktop. In the academy, you need to pay corresponding magic stones to study any course. Every student can get 3 free courses from the instructor. Verdelli pointed to the 3 books on the table: Analysis of Mental Power, Basics of Potion Science, The Collection and Storage of Medicines. You can choose one of the 3 courses. Remember that you only need one chance. The choice this time is related to your intermediate free courses and advanced free courses in the future, and cannot be changed. I choose analysis of mental power. Will made a decision immediately. Although basics of potion science and collecting and storing medicines were good, Will was really more interested in spiritual power. Vertelli handed the book Analysis of Mental Power to Queen Will. Tomorrow is the first class of the Mental Power Analysis class, so remember not to be late. With a look in Voltaire's eyes, a book floated out of the bookshelf beside it and fell into Will's hands. You were accidentally acquired by the Baron's family. This history of wizarding development can just make up for some of your knowledge of the wizarding world. It is my meeting gift. After speaking, Teacher Vertelli picked up the quill and bowed on the desk. Thank you, Mentor. Mentor Vertelli ignored Will, and Will bowed and left the room. Call. After closing the bronze door, Will let out a heavy breath. Pressing his hand on his chest, his heart was beating rapidly, and his back was covered in cold sweat. Too heavy and depressing. Since the meeting, Mentor Vertelli has given Will a very good feeling, like a close big sister. It's just that thinking that the other party is an official wizard, who can kill him with a single breath, Will couldn't help becoming nervous, and he didn't even dare to breathe louder. Haha, how does it feel to see Mr. Wizard? Monty put his arm around Will's shoulder. In the future, you will often see the beautiful and powerful Mr. Vertelli, who can still talk. I'm so envious. Stop making fun of me. Chapter 106. How does it feel after you have had close contact with Master Wizard Voltelli? Monty asked curiously. It feels quite kind. Will expressed his true thoughts. In the college, except for a few, most of the instructors seem to be relatively good people, but... After confirming that he was far away from Wizard Voltelli's room, Monty whispered in Will's ear, except for bloodlines and third-class wizards, most of the mentors don't treat people like us who transplant demon seeds as human beings. Do not dream of getting close to the mentor, deepening the relationship and so on. It is too difficult to advance to the third-class wizard apprentice, and the time is too tight. You only have a lifespan of 30 years, and the tutor is full to support you before contacting you. When you reach 30, you will not be able to become a third-class wizard apprentice and will die. What to do? Sad in vain? What free course did you choose? It's not about potion again. Monty asked curiously. Psychic analysis. Will replied. Even Will is a bit sensible. In terms of mentors, it is understandable to abandon Bloom and choose Vertelli. But if you choose potions in the most critical course, then you really don't want to become a third-class wizard apprentice. After all, time is limited. You're really lucky. It seems that this year's Wizard Vertelli is teaching this class. Monty looked at Will enviously. Psychic analysis is a must-learn elementary course for wizard apprentices, and it's also the most expensive one among them. Class. Oh. Ordinary elementary courses, one class is 10 elementary magic stones, and mental power analysis, one class needs 25 elementary magic stones. When he thought about the magic stone he used in the course of mental power analysis, Monty felt a pain in his heart. For some basic common sense in the wizarding world, Fern had taught Will. In the wizarding world, the trading currency is no longer gold and silver coins, but magic stones. Magic stone, a stone containing pure magic power. It can help people recover and adapt to magic power, and it also plays a great role in arranging formations and refining potions. There are 3 types of magic stones: elementary magic stones, intermediate magic stones, and advanced magic stones. How many classes are there in each course? What is the class arrangement like? Will asked. These are detailed records in the course selection and promotion given to you by the college, but since you asked, I will briefly explain it to you. Monty cleared his throat. Each class, usually 1 or 2 classes a week, each class of elementary courses is about 10 elementary magic stones, usually 10 classes. And the course selection is not something you can choose as you want, you also need to see if the instructor is teaching or not. Some important courses, once missed, have to wait for a year. Among them, there are 3 courses that first-class apprentices must learn, namely Analysis of Mental Power, Basic Application of Magic Power and Jello Intermediate Bodybuilding Method. These 3 courses are all related to advanced second-class wizard apprentices. You'd better take all of them within this year. How many magic stones does it cost? Will didn't have any magic stones on him now. No way. Monty sighed, are you almost 20? The radiation of the demon seed to the body should have been completed, and the mental strength has reached the standard, right? Yes. Will nodded. Next, what you need to do is to prepare for the advancement of second-class wizard apprentices, and the 3 courses mentioned above are all crucial. If you learn one less, your success rate of advancement will be infinitely close to 0. That is to say, if you cannot complete the study within this year, you have to wait another year. This is only the most ideal situation. Some people, after studying for several years, will not be able to learn the content and skills taught in the course until they die. Monty felt emotional. He had also been at Jello Potion's Academy for a few years, and he had seen too many people who were near the end of their lifespan but could not break through to third-class wizard apprentices. Maybe one day, he will be one of them. Haha, don't be so depressed, that's how we all came here. Monty patted Will on the shoulder. You don't need to pay the tuition for the course in one go, just pay once for each class, and there is no attendance, if you can learn it by reading books by yourself, and no one will care if you don't go to class. After hearing Monty's words, Will felt much better. Jello Intermediate Bodybuilding Method should be a kind of exercise method. Will has the most experience in learning exercises, and it is estimated that he can learn it in 1 or 2 classes. And spiritual analysis is free. That is to say, for Will, the only class that really needs to spend a lot of magic stones is basic application of magic power. I'll think about the magic stone later. Monty suddenly remembered something. Don't you have a backpack? It seems to contain a lot of things you collected along the way. You can go to the mission tower to exchange for magic stones. I have this idea too, can I trouble you to lead the way again? Will collected so many things along the way, isn't it just for this? I just don't know how many magic stones his things are worth. I happen to be going to the mission tower too, let's go together. After returning to the room to pick up the backpack, Will led by Monty to the mission tower in the middle of the academy. The underground academy is divided into many areas. Class area, dormitory area, trading area, etc. The mission tower is located in the trading area. After entering the trading area, there were suddenly more people, and there were many stalls along the way. If you set up a stall to sell, the income may be higher, but it takes too long. Considering that you are in urgent need of magic stones, it is better to exchange them at the mission tower. Monty took Will to the mission tower in the middle of the trading area. Hey, Monty, didn't you go on patrol today? Why did you come back so soon? A grey-haired old man asked with a smile in a window of the mission tower. I met a newcomer, and I'm taking him to familiarize himself with the situation. Monty threw a sticker to the old man. The test is complete, the instructor has also seen it, and my newcomer guide task is complete. A medium magic stone. The old man threw a thumb-sized black stone containing magic power to Monty. After receiving the medium magic stone, Monty said to Will, I still have something to do, so let's go first. How about having dinner together tonight? Thank you so much today. I'll treat you to dinner tonight. Will's thanks to Monty were sincere. Haha, then it's settled. Monty patted Will's back hard, and left with a smile. After watching Monty leave, Will took out his backpack and handed it to the old man in the mission tower window. I want to exchange magic stones, please count them for me. Will looked at the old man expectantly. The teeth of the black magic dog, the blood honey, the hexagonal flower, the old man counted them all. When he got the 3 poison sacks, the old man looked at Will in surprise. The green python in the forest. Have you met the green spirit? As a newcomer, it's not easy to survive the attack of the green spirit. After taking everything out of the backpack, the old man returned the bag to Will. A total of 122 primary magic stones. The old man handed Will a small cloth bag, which contained 1 intermediate magic stone and 22 primary magic stones. Chapter 107. Will put the cloth bag containing the magic stone into his backpack and put it away. 122 primary magic stones is considered a good income, much more than Will imagined. Because along the way, Will didn't specifically look for and collect things, and only picked them up when he encountered them. Look for it carefully next time, it will be no problem to double it a few times. Did you kill the green spirit? Asked the old man. Well, there are 3 green spirits in total. Will answered honestly. It's a pity. The old man shook his head. What's wrong? Will asked suspiciously. There are some long-term bounty tasks in the academy. The head of a Beastmaster green spirit can be exchanged for 1 medium magic stone, and if it is more powerful, it can be exchanged for 5 medium magic stones. Will explained. Is that so? Will didn't expect that the green spirit was worth so much more than Sen's green python. Green spirits don't have any particularly important organs, so the college's bounty is only for the race of green spirits? It seems that the academy has also made a lot of contributions to mankind. Will took his backpack and returned to the dormitory. He glanced at the ticking clock on the wall. Is it only 2 o'clock? Will arrives at the academy in the morning and meets Monty. In just a few hours, Will entered the testing room, found out where his dormitory was, met with Mentor Vertelli, and went to the mission tower to exchange magic stones. How time flies! Until now, Will still has the feeling of being in a dream. After lying on the bed for a while and calming down, Will got up and took the 3 books on the shelf and the 2 books given by Volteri's mentor to the desk. Jello Potion Academy School Regulations is too thick, I will read it slowly tonight. Course selection and promotion and college internal parts structural diagram are related to the selection of courses and the strength of promotion, so be sure to read it as soon as possible. The book analysis of spiritual power should also be previewed in advance. History of wizard development seems to be quite thin, so you can read it in your spare time. The first thing Will opened was the book structure diagram of the internal parts of the college. The book records in detail the distribution of various underground areas of the college, opening time, threshold, precautions, etc. The book is composed of maps and annotations, and it is the thinnest of the 5 books. Will finished it in less than half an hour. Just looking at the map, it's still hard to remember. When you have time, walk along the map, and the memory will be more profound. Will picked up course selection and promotion again. The book records a total of 67 courses in elementary, middle, and high school, the advanced relationship with each course, and what can be done and learned after learning the courses. Seeing so many courses, Will's imagination was running wild, and he wished he could learn all the courses. It's better to focus on the 3 basic courses. If you have extra magic stones and free time, you can take 1 or 2 other courses. As a wizard apprentice who transplanted demon seeds, Will's time was already tight. The mentor I followed was Wizard Volteri, and I will definitely spend a lot of time helping Mentor Volteri in the future. There is no time to learn too many things with magic stone. I only need to pay attention to the elementary courses now, and the more advanced intermediate and advanced courses, and I will study slowly later. With that said, Will picked up the book History of Wizarding Development. Enter the world of wizards in order to enter the Jello Potions Academy. From the age of 15 to the present age of 19, Will has experienced too much pain and hardship. But until he entered the academy and selected a mentor, Will still knew little about the world of wizards, and it could even be said that he knew nothing. With excitement, Will opened the history of the development of wizards. History of Witcher development is very thin, only a few dozen pages. There are not many words on each page, and most of them are various abstract pictures. But it still took Will a full 2 hours and flipping through the book several times before Will reluctantly put down the book in his hand. Wizards actually have 9 levels in total, and the powerful and rare official wizards are only first-level wizards. Will sighed in his heart at the power and mystery of the wizarding world. You know, the entire Jello School of Potions, plus the dean who has disappeared all the year round, are just 3 official wizards. It's still the lowest first-level wizard. Those who don't even have a specific level, like wizard apprentices, are just mentioned in the book. It's a pity that it's not as good as it was in ancient times. According to the records in the book, it's even difficult to become a first-level wizard now, and a second-level wizard is already the strongest combat power. Will is saddened by the wizard's decline. Immediately. Even in ancient times when there were 9th-level wizards, human beings were suppressed and enslaved by monsters. How powerful is the Demon King? Could it be that he has surpassed 9th-level wizards and reached the 10th-level realm that wizards have never set foot on? At the same time, Will also deeply felt the power and glory of the monsters. What about the giant dragons that were rumored to be from an even older era? How powerful should they be? Could it be the 11th level that is above the 10th level? Unfortunately, even if it was really powerful to that extent, it still disappeared in the long river of history. The book History of the Development of Wizards does not record how powerful wizards of each level are, and what abilities they have. It's just described with some mysterious nouns. Like a 9th-level wizard, according to the description in the book, he is an omniscient, omnipotent god of the universe. But Will felt that it must have been exaggerated. Is it really omnipotent, and will fail and die? Disappear in the long river of history? Will guessed, maybe there is no wizard who has reached the 9th level? Maybe the 9th level wizard is imagined by humans? The more Will thought about it, the more likely it seemed. Thinking about it, Will smiled. I'm only a first-class wizard apprentice now, and it's extremely difficult to be promoted to a third-class wizard apprentice. Every second counts. I actually think about what happens after I become a formal wizard. Is there a 9th level wizard? I'm really full. Tuk tuk. There was a knock on the door. Will glanced at the clock. Is it almost 7 o'clock? How time flies. Will ate a little dry food in the Intis forest in the morning only today, and he is very hungry now. He stroked his growling stomach. I was so absorbed that I forgot to eat. After arranging the books on the shelf, Will opened the door. There were 3 people standing outside the door. In addition to the familiar Monty, the other 2 were people who patrolled with Monty this morning. I knocked on the door for so long and there was no response. I thought you regretted not wanting to treat me. Monty put his arms around Will's shoulder enthusiastically. You are the only one who wants to invite new students to treat him. Never mind him, as long as I have something to eat. Then, the 2 introduced themselves to Will one by one. The woman's name is Judy, and the man's name is Yoran. Both of them are second-class wizard apprentices and friends of Monty. Let's go to the cafeteria to eat. Monty walked in the front. The food in the cafeteria is much better than the food outside, and it is also very good for the body. It's also expensive. Judy added, one person needs a primary magic stone for a meal, and if you add additional dishes, you need more. Chapter 108. After eating, Will went back to his room. The food here is made from the flesh and blood of monsters mixed with a variety of medicinal materials. For ordinary people, it may be highly poisonous, but for wizard apprentices, it is a great tonic. Will also has endless aftertaste for the meals in the college cafeteria. It's just too expensive. The most basic package requires a primary magic stone. Sitting at the desk, Will opened the only 5 books on the shelf again. It wasn't until 2 o'clock in the middle of the night that Will rubbed his tired eyes and put down the book in his hand. There is still class tomorrow, let's stop here for today. Early the next morning, Will woke up in a dimly lit room, with the faint glow of a dying oil lamp. What time is it? Will quickly looked at the clock. Is it 8 o'clock? It seems that I was really tired yesterday. Since the college is located underground, day and night are similar, which makes Will a little confused. Psychic analysis is a 9 o'clock class, so hurry up. Will hurriedly got up. Don't be late for the first class, especially the class taught by Vertley. After a simple bath, Will bit his dry food and rushed out of the room. In the dormitory area, Will found that many people were similar to him, with confused and excited expressions on their faces, as if they got up late and were nervous. It is estimated that these people are all new students. Along the way, the students did not speak to each other, they all walked forward with their heads down, not knowing what to think in their minds. When I arrived at the classroom, it was already 8:40. There were already more than 30 people in the classroom, and people formed small groups. In the center of each group stood a boy or girl with a proud expression. Will guessed that the few people surrounded by people were most likely to be people with a complete wizarding inheritance, and they might be bloodlines themselves. But Will wasn't interested in any of that. The classroom is so big that more than 100 people can sit there. Will found a remote place in the back with few people, sat down, opened analysis of mental power, and prepared to preview it again. Hello. A young girl with wavy hair came to Will's side. My name is Tina Kirk, and I'm also a disciple of Mentor Valtteri. I think we will be able to talk. Tina held out her hand to Will. Oh? After Will and Tina shook hands, they looked at each other. Tina was wearing a black tight-fitting wizard apprentice robe, with naturally curly wavy black hair, fair and delicate skin, and a little freckles on her face. She was a rare beauty. And this outfit reminded Will of the little wizard girl in a famous movie he had seen in his previous life. Will couldn't help but take a few more glances. Tina nodded to Will, sat down beside Will, and took out analysis of mental power to preview. Jingle bell. After a while, the class bell rang. The noisy classroom fell silent all of a sudden, and the wizard apprentices present rushed towards the front seat in a panic. Will and Tina, sitting at the back of the classroom, became extremely conspicuous. Aren't you going to the front? Tina tilted her head and asked with a smile. We're here to listen to the class, and being quiet is good for thinking, Will said. With his hearing and eyesight, sitting 100 meters away and listening to a class is no different from 10 meters away. It's you, is it okay to sit with me? Will asked. Hee, I think what you said makes sense. Tina laughed. Among the students in the classroom, many people's eyes quietly fell on Tina, and they didn't even glance at Will, who was on the side. This is also a matter of course. Because you came in through formal channels, do you know a little about the students you are with? Even if no one told Will could guess that Tina was something special. Not to mention anything else, it can be seen from the fact that the chosen mentor is Wizard Volteri. Except for the special case of Will, those who are not bloodlines dare not choose Wizard Volteri as their mentor. Tina glanced around, and whispered in Will's ear, did you know? The 31 people here are already half of this year's freshmen, and the rest are either not enough magic stones, or they are old, it's too young to have been transplanted with demon seeds. Of course. As one of the 3 basic subjects, spiritual analysis is a must for everyone. Guess, 10 years later, how many people will still be here? Tina smiled mysteriously. Among the 31 people in the classroom, those with bloodlines can count on one hand. As for the wizard apprentice who transplanted the demon seed, the chance of advancing to the 3rd class wizard apprentice is only 1 in 10. In other words, those who remove the blood. 10 years later, there are more than 2 of them who can survive. Of all the new students, counting his 60, there are probably only 3 or 4 who can become 3rd class wizard apprentices, and the rest. Will's expression was gloomy, as he wondered if Tina was finding fault on purpose. But I think you will definitely succeed. Tina said suddenly. Why do you say that? Will also felt that he could succeed, but it felt a little weird for someone who met him for the first time to say that to him. If you want to become a 3rd class wizard apprentice, talent, hard work, luck, etc., there are many factors that affect it, but the most important thing is strength, and your strength is the strongest among the freshmen this year. Even if it is me, it is not yours. Opponent. Tina looked at Will seriously. Tina's words, in other words, among the freshmen, Will's strength is the first, and she is the second. Will was not too surprised that Tina could see his level of strength. After all, the wizarding world has various and ever-changing magical abilities. When Will was hesitating, whether he should ask the other party's ability, a wonderful figure walked in from the door of the classroom carrying something wrapped in black cloth that looked like a birdcage. In the crowd, I suddenly remembered the sound of heavy breathing. Surprised to see Vertley's mentor. There is the excitement of going to class formally. There is also a deep obsession with the beauty of Vertley's mentor. Instructor Vertley stood on the podium, and all the eyes of the students in the classroom were on her, including Will and Tina. The crystal green pupils of Mentor Vertley looked around with a smile on her face. Quiet. No one dared to make a sound, even breathing was stagnant. Even Will, who had already met Vertley's mentor once, felt very nervous and did not dare to slack off. Is this strength? Will clutched his chest. The so-called equality of everyone is meaningless in the face of an absolute power gap. Will didn't feel that official wizards were superior. But in the face of an existence that can easily kill him at any time, no matter who he is, he will feel scared from the bottom of his heart. If Mentor Vertley makes a sudden move, Will be in seconds. Will anyone say anything? Will anyone do justice to Will? Will anyone accuse Volteri of mentoring? Won't. Whether right or wrong, people will only blame Will, and put all the mistakes on Will. Will stared deeply at Mentor Vertley, and secretly swore in his heart, one day, I will make the huge gap brought about by strength no longer exist. In terms of status, they are all equal. Will knew that this dream was difficult to achieve. But people must have a dream and a goal to work hard for, right? Maybe knowing death is impossible. But at least I tried. I hope that one day, before dying, Will can confidently say, I have dedicated my whole life and all my energy to the most precious cause of mankind, fighting for the equality and freedom of mankind. Although Will doesn't think he is so great. Chapter 109. Does any of you know what spiritual power is? Instructor Vertley looked around and asked. Everyone here is familiar with the term mental power. But what is spiritual power? Just like the legendary 3 philosophical questions: who am I? Where do I come from? Where am I going? Seemingly simple question, but tightly entangled human beings for thousands of years. After a long silence, no one got up to answer. Do you know the uses of mental power? What are they? Vertley asked again. This time, the crowd became agitated. Everyone wants to make a good impression on Mentor Volteri. Soon, the first person stood up. He was a handsome man exuding an aristocratic air. Spiritual power can sharpen our perception, reduce mental fatigue, reduce sleep time, improve memory, and enhance understanding. The man replied. Very well, is there anything else that needs to be added? Voltaire looked at the others encouragingly. After having the first one, people stood up enthusiastically. Spiritual power can eliminate one's own breath, weaken one's own sense of existence, and shield the perception of others. Spiritual power can hypnotize others and manipulate others at will. Psychic power can exert coercion on others and make them feel fear. If you can perceive the mood of others, if your mental power is strong enough and your experience is rich enough, you can read minds to a certain extent. The usefulness of mental power was mentioned one by one. Mentor Vertelli nodded in satisfaction. Clap clap. Vertelli clapped her hands in encouragement. You are all very good. It seems that everyone here has a certain attainment of spiritual power. Teacher Vertelli smiled, but what you said is too superficial. Open the title page of the book and read the sentence written on it carefully. Following the words of Teacher Vertelli, the classroom suddenly heard the sound of turning pages. Will also opened the title page of A Brief Analysis of Mental Power, and there was a sentence written on the title page: Spiritual power is the projection of soul power. What would happen if a person had no soul? Instructor Vertelli asked. Will die. That's right, what would happen if people lost their spirit? Instructor Vertelli asked again. To become a fool? It will become a pile of meat without self-awareness. Although there is still life, it is almost like a dead person. Instructor Vertelli removed the black cloth from the birdcage. In the cage, a white mouse chirps crawls. Spiritual power is an extremely terrifying and powerful force, and its danger is far above any other power. Instructor Vertelli stretched out her right palm towards the little white mouse. I will make the spiritual power manifest, you can pay attention. Suddenly, a pinch of white flame appeared in the head of the little white mouse, which was very weak, as if it would be extinguished when it was blown. In the hands of Teacher Vertelli, there is a white flame the size of a fist. You are watching. Teacher Vertelli's palm slowly approached the little white mouse. The mental power in the little white mouse's head flickered, and then it was devoured and disappeared. The little white mouse fell into the cage, motionless. Instructor Vertelli withdrew her hand and looked at the puzzled students. You still can't understand? Teacher Vertelli shook her head in disappointment. Maybe you think it's no big deal, but if I say that the difference in mental power only needs to reach a certain level, it can be consumed without consumption, ignoring the difference in strength. To instantly devour the opponent's mental power? Wow! Several students suddenly couldn't sit still and fell to the ground. Will also looked serious. What if I say that the gap between mental powers only needs to be 1.5 times to achieve the effect I just had? Mentor Vertelli added. This time, even Will swayed and almost couldn't sit still. The difference of 1.5 times is really too little. The mental power of a junior great knight is about 1.5 times that of an ordinary person, and the spiritual power of a knight is comparable to that of an ordinary person. In other words, if the great knight learns to use mental power, as long as the opponent's mental power is not as good as him, can he easily kill anyone in seconds? Ignoring the difference in combat power? Horrible! Will paled. For a long time, Will felt that he had the strength comparable to a third-class wizard apprentice. But the spiritual power of a third-class wizard apprentice is more than 1.5 times that of a second-class wizard apprentice? Does that mean that any third-class apprentice wizard can have the strength to kill him instantly? Will glanced at Tina beside him. I found that Tina was very calm, and there was even a smile on the corner of her mouth. Any weird? Mentor Vertelli shouldn't lie, but what does Tina look like? After Will took a few deep breaths, his rapidly beating heart calmed down. He stared at Teacher Voltaire again, waiting for the next explanation from Teacher Voltaire. That's why there is this class. Instructor Vertelli is very satisfied with the performance of the students. This class will not directly teach you how to cultivate spiritual power, but will teach you the essence of spiritual power and how to use spiritual power. After that, even I will not be able to easily devour your spiritual power. So, please turn to the first page. Next, Tutor Vertelli began to give a formal lecture. Will was still in a trance until the end of the lecture. Watching the back of Vertelli's mentor leaving, Will finally resisted the urge to rush up to ask the mentor. So, how do we avoid that? It only needs a 1.5 times difference in mental power to easily devour the other party's mental power and turn the other party into a vegetable. Although Valtry's class is wonderful, just one class has greatly improved Will's understanding and use of spiritual power. But the most crucial question. Hee. Tina looked at the troubled Will and laughed in a low voice. Tina, you know what, right? Will seemed to grasp at the last straw. You want to know? Tina laughed. Of course. Will nodded immediately. Then, how about you help me with the tasks issued by the instructor in the future when I'm not free? Tina asked. Will looked at Tina with complicated eyes. Okay. Tina didn't expect Will to agree, and was taken aback for a moment. What Mentor Vertelli said is just the most ideal situation. Tina immediately explained to Will, 99% of our spiritual power is stored in the depths of our minds, and we can't do it if we are not at the level of an official wizard. Fully developed. Tina pointed to her temple, showing a cute smile. That is to say, if you want to suppress and devour the opponent purely with mental power, the difference in mental power must be more than 100 times? Will's eyes lit up. It's more than 100 times. Tina continued to explain, spiritual power dissipates very quickly in the air, and if you don't master the method of condensing the mental power outside the body, even if it is 1,000 times, it will be difficult to do it. So it is. Will suddenly realized. This is on the premise that the other party can't control mental power and use mental power to resist. Tina finally added. Although there is no need to worry about being killed by a third-class wizard apprentice. But that is to say, official wizards can use mental power to easily kill us in seconds? Tina took a strange look at Will. Even if you don't use mental power, official wizards can kill us instantly. Is there a difference? Chapter 110. Hey, that's right. Will rubbed the back of his head and smiled foolishly, but there was only a trace of worry deep in his eyes, which couldn't be erased. Strange guy. Tina hugged the book. I still have something to do, so I'm leaving first. Don't forget the agreement just now. Tina trotted out of the classroom. Will sat there, sighing. Knowledge is power, just a little more knowledge than others, you can get countless opportunities. Tina definitely belonged to a wizard family. It can be seen from the fact that all the people present were stunned by the words of Vertelli's mentor, and she was the only one who remained calm. Student Will, can I bother you? A shy-looking man came over. You are? Will definitely didn't know this person. I'm not malicious, my name is Eddie. The shy man introduced himself. I came to you to invite you to join us. As he spoke, Eddie pointed to the three people waiting not far away. Invite me? We are all from a small family, like me. Before we accidentally came into contact with the guide, we didn't even know what a wizard or a witcher was, and the family didn't know anything about these things either. Eddie sighed. Eddie's words reminded Will of his own experience. Why is he not like this? We have no background, no knowledge, and those big family disciples and bloodlines also look down on us. I think we should help each other and improve each other. Eddie explained. How to help? Will didn't think the other party could help him. Jello Potions Academy is huge, and the wizarding world is very mysterious. There are many secrets and knowledge that we don't know. You know? Will raised his eyes. Of course we don't know. Eddie smiled awkwardly. But we can learn and improve together? Can we exchange information with each other? I'm not interested. Will got up and was about to leave. Wait. Eddie stopped Will. What else is there? Will didn't have time to tangle with Eddie, he was still thinking about choosing courses. The 3 basic courses must be completed within this year. In fact, there are many small groups like ours, and many seniors came here. Eddie continued to persuade Will. In fact, our small group has another name, the Learning Mutual Aid Association. Study Mutual Aid Association? Will was taken aback. You should know that in the college, you need to pay magic stones as tuition fees to study the corresponding courses. Eddie sighed, just 3 basic courses will consume a lot of magic stones. These courses, not learn it once and you'll be fine. So you team up to do the mission together? Will glanced at Eddie, and the 3 men waiting on the other side. They are all first-class wizard apprentices, and their strength is probably at the level of a great knight. Doing tasks with him will only hinder them. We need to study courses, practice intermediate body exercises, improve our mental strength, and earn magic stones. There is simply not enough time. Eddie had a melancholy expression on his face. Time is really tight. This is the path that the wizard apprentice who transplanted the demon seed will take. Have you noticed? What you learn in class can be shared privately. Suddenly, Eddie said mysteriously. Indeed it is. The mechanism of the Jello Potion Academy is a bit like the university in the previous life. But much easier than college. Inside the Jello School of Potions. Attend class? It's your business whether you make it or not. Take an exam? Is there such a thing? Teach others what you have learned? If you have time and want to teach, then go teach. Very loosely managed. If you only take the 3 basic courses, there is no problem at all, but what about after becoming a second-class wizard apprentice? Eddie said sincerely, we need to do tasks to earn magic stones, and we may have to go to other provinces or the country. In order to earn magic stones, knowledge of mineral herbs is necessary, right? Yes. Will nodded in agreement. The herbal medicine knowledge that Will learned was all circulated in the outside market, and it was completely different from that in the wizarding world. Perhaps what is extremely valuable to wizards is a pile of shit to ordinary people. How to dispose of and preserve the medicine is also necessary. Eddie said again. To do the task, there must be some distance away from the academy. It is very normal not to go back to college for 10 days this month. If the preservation work is not done well, the medicinal properties of the medicine will be easily lost. What if you encounter some ancient ruins? So you should dabble in ancient languages, too? Really? Will hates linguistics very much, and hates learning foreign languages very much, but in the wizarding world, you don't know more than a dozen languages. Are you ashamed to go out? During the adventure, you may encounter all kinds of unimaginable traps, so you also need to know a little bit about traps and enchantment magic weapons. Many times, those seniors will charge magic stones for teaching, and the price is more expensive than the formal tutor's class. Eddie obviously investigated, but the tutor's class is limited every year. You can't choose it, or you haven't learned it. You can only go there. I'll join. Will was persuaded by Eddie. There are too many lessons Will wants to learn, but where is the time and the magic stone? But if you join the Learning Mutual Aid Association, you can take that course, I can take that course and exchange and learn afterwards. This is also of great help to Will. After being restored by Will, Eddie smiled happily. Our study mutual aid association, there are only 5 of us now, but in the future, we can contact other mutual aid associations to improve and study together. Eddie greeted and called the other 3 people over. There is also a reason why Eddie and the others came to Will and kept persuading him. Unlike Eddie and others who transplanted demon seeds in the academy, Will himself entered the academy through various tests, and his strength and adventure experience must be very strong. Secondly, Will is still the disciple of Vertley's mentor, and he might get some discounts when buying potions in the future. Finally, Will looked familiar to Tina just now. Will didn't know Tina's identity, and Eddie, who entered the academy with Tina, couldn't be more clear. Tina comes from the Earl Kirk family, a family of wizards that has been passed down for generations. Tina is not only noble, but also very powerful. It is rumored that in the realm of a first-class apprentice, her combat power is already comparable to that of a peak second-class apprentice. For people like them who knew nothing about the wizarding world before entering school, they couldn't buy the information that Tina occasionally leaked from her mouth. Knowledge is priceless. Many things that are just common sense to people like Tina may be the answers Will and the others are looking for. Webb, Wen, and Amy introduced themselves to Will one by one. He also talked about the magic seed he transplanted. Eddie and Wen transplanted the demon seed of the ground bear, and Webb was the leopard. Amy, the only girl among the 5, is quite special, and the demon is the night magic eye. Staring at the crack on Amy's forehead, Will licked his lips excitedly. I don't know what the night magic eye looks like. Chapter 111. Jingle Bell. Another class is over. Goodbye, Mr. Roger. Instructor Luoji is the most experienced demon hunter in the academy. He teaches Warcraft, mainly teaching the classification, weaknesses, habitats, fighting methods, and habits of monsters. During the class, the interest came, and I would talk about the adventure stories of the past. Will benefited a lot from the class taught by Roger. Will, I'm in a hurry recently, and I'm going to trouble you with the pharmacy task issued by the mentor. Tina begged Will. You have been studying under Vertley for so long, so it's time to refine the potion yourself? Don't go out, Tell others that you can't even refine the black stock solution. Will said speechlessly. How could it be? I will still make the black stock solution. Tina raised her flat chest proudly. Anyway, I'm sorry to trouble you. I have something else to do, so I'm leaving first. It has been more than half a year since I came to Jello Potion Academy. In the past 10 months, in addition to studying various courses, Will also worked with Vertley's tutor. Only then did Will realize how troublesome it was to be a student of Voltaire's tutor. Let's put it this way, most of the potions and potions refined in the Jello Potion Academy are shipped out, except for a very small part that stays in the academy for their own use. Passed down the family to wizards everywhere. To the country royalty. To another college. Will already knew about Lorelei Union College, the one his childhood sweetheart Edith went to. On the eastern continent, there are 2 wizarding academies. One is the Jello Potion Academy, and the other is the Lorelei Alliance Academy. Unlike Jello Potion Academy, where 90% of the students are wizard apprentices who have transplanted demon seeds, the Lorelei Alliance Academy only recruits bloodlines. Therefore, the strength of Lorelei Alliance Academy is far higher than that of Jello Potion Academy. There are so many potions and potions that need to be refined. Instructor Vertelli is the only potion master in the academy, and the number assigned to the instructor is also the largest. In addition, he often needs to help Tina. Therefore, every month, Will spends 1/3 of his time refining potions and potions under the mentor of Vertelli. If it wasn't Will, but an ordinary wizard apprentice who transplanted demon seeds, under such high-intensity potion refining, there would be no other time to study, practice and earn magic stones. Will teacher Vertelli consider your situation and not order you? Think too much. But there are benefits too. A lot of knowledge about drug identification, processing, and storage needs to be paid outside, but tutor Voltaire will teach you for free. If you want to learn the prescriptions and methods of refining potions and potions, you also need to choose courses and pay a fee. Instructor Vertelli will teach you for free, explaining to you step by step. But what if you don't live up to the expectations of Voltaire's mentor? Please get out. Or just want to run after learning something. Sorry, but Will hasn't seen anyone that stupid. Under the mentor of Vertelli, not only knowledge can be learned. Sometimes the leftovers from refining medicine can be taken away by yourself. No one cares whether you use it yourself or sell it. As a disciple of mentor Vertelli, the pros and cons are very obvious. Will has always been confused. Tina, a bloodline awakener, does not have a lifespan limit of 30 years old. After finally being chosen as a mentor by Voltley, why not study hard? Will is now able to refine a lot of secondary potions, and with these techniques, he can earn a lot of magic stones every month. Although compared with doing tasks, it is still much less. Helping Tina refine the share of medicine is not free. Will learned a lot of secret wizard knowledge from Tina. But Will gradually found that there were fewer and fewer things that could be pried out of Tina's mouth. Her usefulness is coming to an end. Tina herself should have a lot of knowledge that Will doesn't understand, but that knowledge must be very important and cannot be easily said. That guy, Tina, has been calling me around lately without revealing any information. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? This time, Will help Tina for free for the last time. Afterwards, Will talk to Tina. If Tina didn't have anything else of value to give him, the matter of him helping to refine the share of the potion would come to an end. Will, can you teach me Jello's intermediate exercise method? Amy, one of the members of the Learning Mutual Aid Association, trotted over from not far away. His jaw dropped to the table in front of Will. The bright eyes stared at Will, blinking and blinking, looking so innocent, so cute and alluring. But Will, who knows Amy's nature, can only have a pure male-female relationship with Amy. Never step over the thunder pool. Rather, Will has this attitude towards most of the women in Jello Potions Academy. Because the atmosphere in Jello Potion Academy is too developed. Will, who had received the education of 8 honors and 8 shames since he was a child, really couldn't accept it. Although I can't accept it. But it is not incomprehensible. If you think about it carefully, who are the main students of Jello Potion Academy? Bloodlines are a minority. Most of them are people who transplanted demon seeds. After transplanting the demon seed, there is a life limit of 30 years. Only by becoming a third-class apprentice can he regain his freedom and break through the 30-year-old life limit. So, what is the probability of becoming a third-class apprentice? The answer is less than 1/10. A group of adolescent boys and girls wander between life and death every day for a little magic stone, and they don't know if they can live past 30. What will be done? Shame? Etiquette? Morality? What are those? Can I eat it? The most important thing, of course, is to have fun. If you don't enjoy yourself to the fullest, when your 30th birthday arrives, you will find that you have worked hard for 30 years, but in the end you haven't eaten any good things? Then don't regret it. So for their choice, Will is very understanding and even supports them. But what kind of relationship between Will and the other party beyond friendship? Feel sorry. Forgive me for declining. Will himself is still a bit of a clean freak, and he doesn't want to be one of Amy's double-digit boyfriends. Please, teach me the intermediate exercise method. Amy put on a pitiful look. How about I introduce some good-looking women to you? Good-looking men are also fine. Amy was unwilling to state each condition. Just why does it sound so weird? Forget about beauty. Why are there even men? I'll ignore you if you mess around again. Will scratched the back of his head. I can teach you the intermediate exercise method, so what do you give in exchange? No matter which world, the principle of equivalent exchange is followed. In the wizarding world, this grim law is especially evident. Luo's intermediate body training method is a kind of body training method that guides out the magic seeds and the magic power and tempers the body. It is useless for people without magic seeds and magic power to learn it. It is also very difficult. By practicing other exercises, you can gradually become stronger and your understanding of exercises will gradually deepen. But the intermediate body training method, because there is no medicine, and the mental power is not up to the standard, it is impossible to easily draw out the magic power, otherwise it will be crippled or dead. It took even Will 2 months to practice the intermediate exercise method without practicing it. Afterwards, Will passed the blue spirit system and used his source power to quickly pile up the intermediate body training method to level 5. It can be said that in the academy, no one can surpass Will in terms of understanding of intermediate body training methods. Relying on his in-depth understanding of intermediate exercise methods, Will kept exchanging all kinds of knowledge he wanted in the Learning Mutual Aid Association. Can't you help me? Amy pouted and said dissatisfied. This is the most basic principle of equivalent exchange. If you don't want to abide by it, then I can't help you. Please find another way. Will ruthlessly refused. Don't do this, we are good friends. Amy scratched her head depressedly. I will definitely pay the price, but didn't you refuse? What exactly do you want? Amy had never seen such an odd man as Will. Chapter 112. If you look at me like that again, I'm going to be angry. Will has also heard a lot of rumors about him, many of which are very ugly. He also knew that his usual approach and behavior were a bit different from other wizard apprentices, so it was inevitable that he would be bad-mouthed and have various rumors. But it's fine to talk behind your back. What's the matter with this blatant look? Ah? Amy quickly pretended not to know what you were talking about. Will tapped the table with his slender fingers. My time is precious, and it's impossible to get something from me without paying. Will has already taught Amy several times in the intermediate exercise method, but unfortunately, Amy's talent in exercise method is quite low, and she hasn't started it until now. I will exchange the corresponding knowledge. Didn't you say that you are very interested in totems? Amy said quickly, I found a few people who took totem classes and borrowed a lot of people's notes. I will definitely to your satisfaction. Will glanced at Amy's pretty face and curvy figure. Thinking about it, all these things were obtained with this alluring body. But what about Will? This time, you must teach me. Amy's head moved closer, and the fragrant breath only sprayed on Will's lips. Keep away. Will pushed Amy away. I'm not a god, how can I promise to teach you? But I. Forget it, read it as a friend of ours, and give you a discount. In any case, Amy was also the first group of friends Will met after entering the Jalo Potions Academy, and also the ones with the deepest feelings. Really? Amy said excitedly. We still have 2 months, and it will be a year. There is a regulation in Jalo Potion Academy, students are not allowed to leave a certain area of the academy in the first year of entering the academy, otherwise they will be expelled from school. As a result, Will's abilities and understanding of drugs, ores, and monsters cannot be applied in practice. In the past half a year, the magic stones earned were pitifully small. Amy nodded repeatedly. In 2 months, I will be on a mission, so during these 2 months, I will spend as much time as possible to teach you. If you fail to learn in 2 months, don't blame me. Will said. Thank you so much, woo woo woo. Amy hugged Will and kept rubbing her cheeks. Sure enough, Will treats me the best. Get away, your saliva is dripping on my face. Will pushed Amy away with a disgusted expression. Hey! Amy smirked. For 2 months, Will taught 1 class a week, and there are 10 classes. It was still a one-on-one situation, plus Will's understanding of intermediate body training methods surpassed that of ordinary instructors. If so, Amy can't even learn it, so she can just give up and wait for death. Will, would you like me to introduce you to someone? Amy pressed against Will with an ambiguous expression on her face. Your body should be fine, right? What type do you like? Hot? Flat? Charming? Pure? Don't keep acting like a bastard, okay? Will said speechlessly. Don't be shy, I won't spread the word if you like it. Amy touched Will's butt. Do you like being fucked by men? Amy. Will stared at her. Don't let me hear such rumors, or learn. Amy's body tensed up suddenly. I have to go to the skill tower later. I have been busy refining potions for Vertili the past 2 days. I don't have time at the moment. It may take 3 to 5 days before I can teach you. You can first learn about the totem. Take the books to my room, Will said. Okay, I know. Amy spoke very seriously, but her eyes turned left and right. She must be thinking of something. Don't put anyone in my room anymore. Once you find out, hee, you can figure it out. Will said in advance. Am I not good for you? Amy pouted. Amy has a criminal record. Will still remembered that night, when he returned to the dormitory exhausted, 2 wonderful figures exuding fragrance entangled him. It's a pair of twins, and they both look very good looking. The issue is, one of them is a man. Will finally knew that the rumors in the college that he liked men were spread by Amy. To be honest, Will didn't slap Amy to death, so it was already considered good. After sending Amy away, Will went to the trading area. In the trading area, students of the college can rent rooms and set up stalls to sell their various things. Will also has a lot of things for consignment in the shop. But today, Will went to not these shops. In the trading area, there are 3 towers built by the academy. The task tower, the place to receive and submit tasks, can also sell things directly, and the price will be relatively low. In the training tower, there are all kinds of complete props and facilities, as well as a bunch of sparring personnel, for you to enjoy actual combat, increase experience, and see your own strength clearly. Different services require different amounts of magic stones. The last one is the skill tower. In the skill tower, you can exchange magic stones for various skills. What Will is going now is the skill tower. Enter the skill tower and come directly to a window, which is a middle-aged aunt. Most of the service personnel in the college are bloodlines, but most of them are people with thin bloodlines, whose strength is stuck in the first-class apprentice or second-class apprentice, and the strength cannot be one step closer. People with bloodlines have obvious advantages over people who transplanted demon seeds, but they also have disadvantages. That is blood concentration. When the blood is thin to a certain extent, the strength will be stuck, and one cannot make further progress for a lifetime. However, those who transplanted the demon seeds did not have such worries. In fact, if there is number 30-year lifespan limit, every wizard apprentice who transplants a demon seed has a great chance of advancing to a third-class wizard apprentice. A window, Will immediately said, I want to learn spiritual skills. There are martial arts that use life force, witchcraft that use magic power, and naturally there are skills that use spiritual power. The skills of mental power are very difficult to learn, and the strength and control of mental power must reach a certain level before they can be learned, otherwise it will cause serious consequences. Will, too, has only recently come up to PAR. What skills do you want to learn? The aunt handed over a book. Turning to the page of spiritual skills, Will looked carefully. As for the spiritual skills, Will must have investigated them beforehand, but he checked them again to see if there were any powerful skills he had missed. There's none. No new skills of interest were discovered. After many days of investigation, Will took a fancy to 3 of the many mental skills. They are clarity, spirituality, and perception. Clarity technique can enhance memory and strengthen the control of mental power. Spiritual movement can control the body more delicately, making the body more coordinated. Perception, as its name suggests, strengthens perception. It is rumored that if it is practiced to the extreme, the so-called sixth sense may even appear. Will wanted to learn these 3 skills very much. It's a pity that I can only learn one due to my lack of cash. My hard power has already reached the level of a third-class wizard apprentice. The combat power improved by the spirit movement technique is not very useful, and I have the eye of reality, so there is no need to rush to learn the perception technique. Will's eyes finally fell on the art of clarity. Chapter 113. Knowledge is power. Especially for someone like me who specializes in potions, ancient totems, and monsters, a strong memory is a must. In the apprenticeship stage, in frontal battles, the direct effect of mental power is very little. But in the process of becoming stronger, it can play an extremely important role. Spiritual skills are much more difficult to learn than martial arts, and the requirements are much higher. Even Will, in order to meet the requirements for learning spiritual skills, worked hard for 10 months. Fortunately, I chose Mentor Vertelli. Will felt unprecedentedly correct about his choice. The blood concentration of my demon seed is purified, and the magic power is messy and difficult to control. Ordinary apprentices only need to finish the analysis of mental power and learn some simple skills in the course, and then they can prepare for attacking second-class apprentices. But I can't. In order to draw out and control the magic power of the monster, my mental strength and control must be far above the average standard. Of course, Will didn't think of this knowledge alone. It was Mentor Vertelli who suggested Will. At the same time, Mentor Vertelli also gave Will the solution to learn a spiritual skill. There are quite a lot of spiritual skills, but currently the most useful ones for me are the clarity technique, the spirit technique and the perception technique. I want to learn each of them. Will looked at the price behind the skill and sighed. Learning a spiritual skill requires 30 medium magic stones. After working hard for 10 months, Will saved 37 medium magic stones. Even if you choose not to be the tutor of Vertelli, you can have extra time to accept tasks in the academy, and you can only earn 60 or 70 magic stones. Since you can't learn all 3 spiritual skills, of course you need to choose the most needed ones. Clarity. Will chose the skill. Can it be cheaper? Spiritual skills are engraved in crystals, right? 30 medium magic stones have 10 chances to comprehend. If I only comprehend once, can you only hand in 3 medium magic stones? Spiritual skills are different from other skills. They are not written in books, but engraved in crystals. When you need to learn, you can study the spar. I heard that witchcraft is also engraved on spar. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Do you want to learn it or not? Said the window ant impatiently. Learn, of course. Will quickly lowered the bag containing the magic stone. Watching the hard-earned magic stone go away with heartache, Will sighed. The skill of drawing is too profitable. After 10 times of enlightenment, there is no guarantee of learning. I heard that some people paid the tuition 5 or 6 times, and finally still can't learn. It doesn't cost money to engrave spiritual skills in the spar? And every time you comprehend it, the skills engraved in the spar will be blurred once, and will disappear completely after 10 times. The ant counted the magic stones in the bag, so the first time has the highest success rate. If you fail to learn a skill the first time, it basically proves that your talent is no good. If you don't pay the tuition 3 or 5 times, don't even think about learning it. Pour out the magic stone and throw the bag back to Will. Spiritual skills are generally learned by third-class apprentices. You are a first-year student. If you don't save magic stones and buy star silver liquid, what kind of spiritual skills do you learn? The ant looked at Will strangely. This is the door card. To the skills learning area, someone will take you. Can you return the book to me? At this moment, Will turned the book to the page of meditation. On the entire page, there is only one column: Advanced Meditation Methods. Looking at the price marked on the back, Will twitched his lips. Is it a high-level magic stone? Young people nowadays are too anxious, right? Thinking about learning advanced meditation now? Can't you see it? Look at whatever you want, as long as you don't disturb other people. The ant's eyes were full of contempt. Is it too much for just one high-level magic stone? At this price, it's a free gift. The purpose of the academy has always been to cultivate third-class apprentices as much as possible. The price required to learn advanced meditation methods can be earned by first-class apprentices who work hard for a year or 2. But what's the use? Mental strength is less than the peak of a second-class apprentice, and he can't learn advanced meditation at all. However, in the academy, there are only important exercises related to advancement, such as meditation and body exercises, which are relatively cheap to learn. Other skills are very valuable. Will returned the book to Auntie, took the key card, and walked towards the learning area in the skill tower. This is the room for learning clarity. You only have 5 days, during which you can leave temporarily. The guide said to Will, after 5 days, this room will no longer be developed for you, and skills the spar cannot be taken out of the room, and once discovered, the fine will be 10 times greater. Okay. After swiping his card, Will opened the door and entered the room. In the huge room, there is only a half-person high stone pillar standing in the center. Directly above the stone pillar, a round spar the size of a fist is suspended and slowly rotating. The rest of the room was empty. Is this the skill spar? Will sat down beside the stone pillar, lightly pressing his hands on the spar. Close your eyes. The mental power slowly moved towards the skill spar. Suddenly, a clear picture appeared in front of Will. It was a constantly surging wave. Will's mental power seemed to be integrated into the waves, constantly rising and falling with the waves. Countless mysteries about spiritual power, various ways to use spiritual power, repeated in Will's mind. Martial skills have different moves, breathing methods have different breathing methods, body training methods have to be performed one by one, meditation methods have 12 runes, and clarity techniques also include many ways to use spiritual power. Will frowned, it's just that this is too messy, isn't it? Isn't there one that is easy first and then difficult? His spiritual power merged into the waves in the crystal. As the waves continued to rise and fall, Will seemed to be using the art of clarity continuously. Because the description of the mental space is too difficult, so let you directly experience the process of using the clarity technique. It's just a collection of countless skills, just like what I just taught was addition and subtraction. I jumped to calculus all at once, and then went to linear equations in 2 variables. If someone teaches you little by little, step by step, skill by skill, the art of articulation is actually not too difficult. It's just that this kind of thing similar to the stream of consciousness is difficult to describe in verbal language. One enlightenment, it's over. Will shook his head. No wonder everyone says that mental skills are difficult to learn and talents are desperately needed. Unfortunately, Will's mental talent is very poor. Of every college in the college, which one is not born with strong mental power? Only Will, whose mental power was a little higher than ordinary people after he reached the level of a great knight through practicing breathing techniques, barely reached the entry threshold for wizard apprentices. If Will learns by himself, it is estimated that he will not have to pay the tuition fee 10 times, so he will never learn. Blue Spirit. Sure enough, the art of clarity has appeared on the interface. The art of clarity is actually very simple. Anyone who comprehends it for the first time has already learned it. Actually, the clarity technique is just a collection of dozens of techniques for controlling and sorting out mental power. Learning some simple ones is not difficult in theory. The whole clarity technique is essentially a book of C++ from entry to entry. It's just that this kind of teaching method is simply messed up. Will was speechless. Dozens of techniques for combing and using mental power are randomly mixed together, and the difficulty changes. Who can learn them all? But that doesn't matter anymore. Will directly upgraded the art of clarity to level 5. Did it only cost 20 points of source power to go from level 0 to level 1? The consumption was less than expected. Will closed his eyes. It feels like the mind has become extremely clear. Memories that had been forgotten emerged one by one. The already blurred memory became clearer, as if it had been reviewed countless times. Is this the power of the 5th level clarity technique? Will sighed in his heart. If I had learned articulation earlier, it would not have been so painful when I was studying linguistics at Nice College. In those 6 months, I was 10 times more tired than in the 3rd year of high school. What if I also learn spirituality and perception? What if I also learn other mental skills? Thinking of the number of magic stones he had left, Will could only give up the unrealistic thoughts in his heart. Chapter 114. Now that you've learned it, let's go. Will didn't want to hide his talent. Didn't the window ant just say that? Talented people learn skills after enlightenment once. Leaving the skill tower and walking out of the trading area, Will went to the alchemy room of Valtry's tutor. In the vast room, there are wooden shelves more than 10 meters high, and each shelf is filled with various medicinal materials. Will skillfully walked to the alchemy area. There, 6 people have already started to refine the medicine. Are you all here? Will asked in surprise. There are too many people this time. Will, are you finally here? We'll be waiting for you. Is that girl Tina not coming this time? Will, among us, your technique is the highest. We have to practice these potions within 3 days, and it's up to you. Will takes the order. When he saw it, his expression changed. 3,000 hemostatic ointments? The hemostatic ointment is all made in one pot, and the refining is very fast, so it's not a big problem. 500 bottles of nutrition pills? There are a whole 100 pills in one bottle. Looking at them one by one, Will's face became more and more ugly. At the end, 10 bottles of limb ointment? This kind of potion that can connect broken limbs is difficult to refine in the secondary potion. I am the only one present who can make it. After refining such a thing for 3 days, Will wanted to bring Tina back. Will, it's up to you. Everyone else looked at Will with that only you can do it look. Among the 7 people present, except for Will, the other 6 are all bloodlines, and they are all people who are good at potions in the academy. In the beginning, they made rapid progress with Will. For Will's private teaching from Valtry's mentor, he is extremely envious, jealous, and resentful. But gradually, the negative emotions in my heart disappeared. Because they are all bloodlines, they don't have a lifespan limit of 30 years. So they began to think, well, this guy spends so much time on potions, doesn't he need to practice? Don't you go to class? Don't you do missions to earn magic stones? Could it be that Will intends to dedicate his limited life to infinite potions? Anyway, if he does what he does, he will die at the age of 30. No matter how good he is in potions, what's the use? With this mentality, their envy, jealousy, and hatred towards Will disappeared. Let's work hard, 3 days is not much time. Will cheered loudly. Come on. After speaking, the 7 immediately got busy. Call. Will collapsed on the chair, exhausted physically and mentally, with sunken eyes and obvious dark circles. In the refining room, everyone else left. Will was left alone. I haven't slept for 3 days, what a pain. Will rubbed his temples. With Will's current physical strength and mental strength, if he just didn't sleep for 3 days, it would be impossible to be so tired. But refining medicines, especially potions, requires a high degree of concentration, and the movements must be as precise as a clock's stopwatch, which is very tiring. Maintaining that state for a long time is very exhausting physically and mentally. The others had already gone back to rest, and Will stayed to wait for mentor Vertelli to come to check and accept. I didn't expect you to really be able to complete it. A beautiful woman with a pointed wizard hat, a black wizard robe, emerald green hair, and elf-like ears came to Will. Teacher, are you here? Will quickly got up and greeted respectfully. Come, have a cup of coffee to refresh yourself. The voice of teacher Vertelli was so soft, reaching the depths of one's heart. Gilu. Will took the coffee and drank it in a few sips. The coffee is very bitter, but after drinking it, I can obviously feel much better and less sleepy. Will, you learned the mental skills, right? Instructor Vertelli sat down on the table, her fair and slender legs raised up, and her round buttocks were tightly wrapped by the tight wizard robe. Yes. Will was not surprised that mentor Vertelli could find that he had learned mental skills. The power of an official wizard is far beyond what Will can fathom now. Your mental talent is quite poor. I don't know why you practice meditation and learn spiritual skills very quickly. Instructor Vertelli looked at Will with interest. Look. Will trembled in his heart, very afraid that Lan Ling's secret would be discovered. Fortunately, mentor Vertelli didn't get entangled in this matter. The radiation of the demon seed on your body has already been completed, and the strength and control of your mental power have also reached the standard. Next, you can directly attack the second-class apprentice. Instructor Vertelli said. Really? Will said excitedly. However, your demon seed is a little different. The use of ordinary star silver liquid may not be obvious. Vertelli said. So what? Will asked anxiously. If you want to advance to a second-class apprentice, you must draw out the magic power from the demon seeds, and then use the intermediate body training method to run the magic power in your body and use the magic power to temper your body. While strengthening the body, it can also further adapt the body to the magic power, so as to prepare for the fusion of magic seeds when advancing to the third-class apprentice. However, the magic power in the demon seed is very violent. If you are not careful, you will run away. Therefore, the usefulness of the star silver liquid is revealed. After dropping the star silver liquid on the magic seed, the magic power in the magic seed can be temporarily stabilized, the aggressiveness is also greatly reduced, and the magic power can be drawn out safely. But that's just normal. Will is different. Will's demon seed is not ordinary monster flesh and blood, the blood has been purified, and the purification method is very bad, it is not made according to the standard of demon seed at all. This led to Will's demon seed, which is very powerful and very irritable. The effect of ordinary star silver liquid is very small. Instructor Vertelli took out a translucent test tube from the valley in her chest. In the test tube, a silver white liquid swayed gently. That's it. Will stared straight at seeing Iani. This is the star silver liquid I improved for you. Instructor Vertelli threw the test tube to Will. Will's face changed, and he quickly caught Xing Yunyi, holding Xing Yunyi tightly in his arms. Feeling the faint warmth on the star silver liquid, Will's heart was excited like never before. Mentor, you? As your reward for 3 days. Teacher Vertelli smiled, but for the next one, you will have to pay for the magic stones, and you will not be charged more. The market price is 15 intermediate magic stones for a bottle. Mentor Vertelli's star silver liquid is improved, and the price is actually the same as ordinary star silver liquid, which is already a great discount for Will. But, Mentor, how many bottles of star silver liquid do you think I need to use? The stronger the demon seed, the more times it needs to quench the body, and the more star silver liquid needs to be used. Unfortunately, Will's demon seed is the blood of a dragon, which is very powerful. So the amount of star silver liquid? 20 bottles. Will took a deep breath. 20 bottles, each with 15 intermediate magic stones, that is. Thank you, teacher, for helping me, I will never forget it. Will didn't show his gaffe. Mentor Vertelli has already helped Will a lot, if he wants more, such as lowering the price of star silver liquid. If it makes the instructor feel unhappy, the gain will not be worth the loss. For Will's attitude, Mentor Vertelli is very satisfied. You have been refining the potion for 3 days in a row, and you are tired, so go back and have a good rest. Instructor Vertelli said. Then I'll go first. Will held the star silver liquid and bid farewell to Mentor Vertelli. Chapter 115. Will returned to the dorm and collapsed on the bed. 3 high-level magic stones. It is equivalent to 300 intermediate magic stones and 30,000 primary magic stones. Ordinary first-class apprentices only need to use 7 or 8 bottles of star silver liquid, but I actually need to use 20 bottles? Where are we going to find so many magic stones? Will originally thought that after 1 year was over and he could leave the academy to take on the mission, the speed at which he could acquire magic stones would increase greatly, which should be enough. But now it seems that no. Under normal circumstances, it will take at least a year to obtain 3 high-level magic stones. Will silently calculated in his heart. He is 20 years old now. A year later, it will be 21 years old. It takes 1 year to upgrade to a second-class apprentice, and it takes 2 to 3 years to consolidate the realm and upgrade to the peak of a second-class apprentice. By then, will be 25 years old. Only at the age of 25 did you start attacking third-class apprentices? Too slow. It seems that we need to take a little risk. He originally didn't want to put himself in danger, but the demand for magic stones far exceeded his imagination. Sure enough, if you want to get something, you have to give something. Will closed his eyes and fell into a deep sleep. Sleep first, we'll talk about everything when we wake up. In the secret room of the dormitory, Will was holding a test tube, which was filled with a light red liquid. On the table, there are many test tubes filled with different liquids. In addition to the test tubes, there are also a lot of herbal ores. Although the time is urgent now, the number of magic stones needed to advance to a second-class apprentice is unexpectedly large. But what's the use of worrying? He is still a first-year student, and he still can't understand that the academy is going outside to do tasks. Instead of being in a hurry, it's better to refine a few more bottles of medicine and earn a few more primary magic stones. Tuk tuk. Outside the door, there was a knock on the door. Who is it? After plugging the test tube in his hand, inserting it back into the shelf, and locking the door of the secret room, Will opened the door of the dormitory. Outside the door, a familiar face stared at Will aggrievedly. It's been 10 days since we made an agreement last time. Amy's face was full of anger. Didn't you say that you want to teach me how to exercise? Didn't you say that you are only busy for a few days? Are you forgetting such an important thing? Gone? Is it important? Will only dared to think so in his heart. For Will, it's just a small thing, just forget it. But for Amy, it's a matter of life and death, and it's a matter of her advancement to a second-class apprentice. Maybe because of the delay of a few days, he will never be able to advance to the third-class apprentice. For such an important matter, Will actually forgot? Anger is inevitable. I've been a little busy these days, sorry. Will apologized. He got the star silver liquid from Mentor Vertelli that day, and after knowing the amount of star silver liquid needed, Will has been thinking of a way. How to earn magic stones? What kind of task should I take? What kind of task difficulty would not endanger his life, but also earn a lot of magic stones? A busy, is a few days. Hehe, Will, I believe you? You must have forgotten. Amy squeezed into the room through the door. Today, I want you to teach me. All right. Will's eyes looked out the door, and there were two women standing there. One of them had dyed hair in various colors, had iron rings on his ears, an iron ring under his nose, an iron ring on his lower lip, and each nail of his 10 fingers was dyed a different color. At first glance, she is a bad girl. If it was Will in the previous life, it must be as far away as possible, and the two will never meet. Even now, Will didn't want to befriend someone like that. The other girl is much more well-behaved. She is relatively petite, half a head shorter than Amy. He has fair skin, short black hair, old-fashioned eyes, and a wizard's apprentice robe, which is obviously too big and doesn't fit well. They are? Will wondered. Didn't you say you want to learn totemology? Both of them have taken totemology courses. Amy introduced Will. This fashionable beauty is called Mary, and this cute and petite girl here it's Sarah. Can they really teach me totemology? Will wondered. Can't you trust me? We also brought the books and notes, where should we put them? Just put it on the table. Amy moved the dozen or so notebooks outside the door to the desktop in Will's dormitory. Sarah and Mary want to learn intermediate exercise from you, can you? Amy looked at Will pitifully. Mary brushes her hair from the side of her head and winks at Will. Sarah stared blankly at Will. Are you really here to study? Certainly. Amy kept nodding. I've said it beforehand, if you do some small tricks, don't blame me for not teaching you in the future. Will got vaccinated in advance. I got it. Will warned to play, and found that Amy actually started to make small moves. What are you doing? Are you going to learn the intermediate exercise method from you? Then why are you undressing? When practicing exercises, don't you have to relax your body? The clothes I wear are too tight, which will affect my movements, resulting in substandard movements. Amy made a lot of sense, but Will was speechless. But Will let Amy get what she wants? Wear my clothes. Throw the baggy shirts into the hands of Amy, Mary, and Sarah. Amy pouted. Mary also had a dull expression, not knowing how to react. It's different from what you said at the beginning? Amy and Mary looked at each other quietly. On the other hand, Sarah took the clothes and began to put them on quietly. Forget it, your original clothes are loose enough. Will took the shirt back from Sarah's hand. Originally, Sarah's figure was very short, and she still wore his shirt. It's similar to elementary school students wearing adult clothes. After Mary and Amy both changed their clothes. Okay, let's get started. Will clapped his hands and said. Gathering his mind, Will sat on the rattan chair and began to instruct Amy to practice with the three of them. The three of them are already very familiar with the intermediate exercise method, and Will only needs to mention it from time to time. At first, Amy also wanted to seduce Will. Slowly, Amy also immersed herself in cultivation, after all, it was related to her own life. Will, on the other hand, took the notes and books on totemology, flipping through them page by page, and asked when he encountered any questions he didn't understand. Every question he asked was answered comprehensively and meticulously. But every question was answered by a girl named Sarah. The delinquent Mary, who heard that she also studied totemology, seemed to know nothing about totemology. Anyway, teaching one is teaching, and teaching two is also teaching. Will didn't point it out. Before I knew it, 2 hours passed. Both Amy and Mary were sweating. Compared with those two, Sarah looked very relaxed, with no sweat stains at all. Come here first today. Will shouted to stop, the three of you can come to me at this time in the evening. Remember, don't bring other people with you, and don't mess with small tricks. If you don't listen to persuasion, don't blame me. Do not recognize people. Okay. Next time you bring your own exercise clothes, don't try to keep rubbing against my clothes. Did you hear that? Don't blame me for refusing to enter. No. Amy left the room with Mary and Sarah. After confirming that the three of them were gone, Will breathed a sigh of relief. In a room with three girls, two of them tried to trick him into committing crimes. It is impossible to say that I am not moved, and there are no strange thoughts in my heart. As long as he hooked his fingers, he believed that Amy and Mary would be willing to fall into his arms. But never mind. This is no longer a mere exchange of interests. Will himself is very pure about the friendship between men and women. Even so, people's desires exist objectively, and they cannot be suppressed if they want to. As the saying goes, it's better to block than to block. Generate your own electricity. Chapter 116. Quack quack. The door was pushed halfway open. Through the gap, Sarah could clearly be seen standing outside the door, dumbfounded, motionless as if under a hold spell. Tick-tock tick-tock. The second hand on the clock in the room rotated one frame at a time. Silence. Will let go of his hands, pulled on his trousers, and put on his wizard's apprentice robe. Sit down with your back against the rattan chair, pick up a notebook, and lift it up to cover your face. After turning over 2 or 3 pages, he put down his notes, looked at the gap in the doorway, and showed a dazed expression. Why are you back? Will frowned. I'm here to talk to you about totems. Sarah's short body got in through the gap in the door. You don't have to try to please me. If it's useless, I can't give you anything. Will shook his head. No, Your name is Sarah, isn't it? Yes, it is. You are Amy's friend, and you came to me to learn intermediate exercise with her, right? So, think about it carefully. What did you do when I taught you just now? Will put down the notes in his hand and looked directly at Sarah. Did I do something wrong? Sarah trembled. In the beginning, both Amy and Mary came to me with impure thoughts, but as time passed, they all slowly immersed themselves in training like physical exercise, and you? Will stood up and walked around Sarah. He put his nose close to Sarah, took a few deep breaths, and then licked Sarah's cheek again. You don't smell of sweat at all. Will pointed to a few puddles of water in the room that hadn't dried up. Did you see that? That's the sweat from Amy and Mary. Sarah lowered her head in shame. If you still come to me with this mentality to practice physical exercise next time, you don't have to come, and don't let me drive you away. Will sat back on the rattan chair and stared at Sarah steadfastly. The look in the eyes seemed to say, why haven't you left yet? After being reprimanded by Will, Sarah's eyes were red, but she didn't intend to leave at all. I am a bloodline. Sarah's voice was as weak as the chirping of a mosquito. But Will heard it anyway. However, Will was even more angry. What's wrong with the bloodline people? Don't bloodline people need to practice? You don't have to come here anymore, get out. Will glared at Sarah, and almost threw Sarah out with his own hands. No, listen to my explanation. Sarah said quickly, my blood is too thin, and the magic power in my body is not enough for me to temper my body once. After hearing Sarah's words, the anger on Will's face gradually receded. Advanced second-class apprentices need to draw out the magic power in the demon seed, use the intermediate exercise method to run the magic power, and temper the body. The magic power of the bloodline person comes from the bloodline deep in the body. If the blood is too thin, there will be a situation where the magic power is not enough to complete the tempering of the body. It's not that Yongsheng can't become a second-class apprentice. You are going to a destination, and the car blows out on the way, can't you just walk? It's just time, which is tens or hundreds of times that of ordinary situations. Ordinary first-class apprentices may be able to advance to second-class apprentices in a year or two. However, it may take tens or hundreds of years for a first-class apprentice like Sarah whose blood is too thin to advance to a second-class apprentice. Father sent me to the academy just because he wanted me to hook up with people with bloodlines, conceive a child, and increase the concentration of bloodlines in the family. Sarah smiled wryly. Will understood Sarah very well. Wasn't Fern Furlong, who recommended Will to the academy, the same? After solving a doubt, a new question came to mind. In Sarah's situation, it can be said that there is no hope of advancing to a second-class apprentice in this life. So, why are you looking for me? Wouldn't it be superfluous to ask Will to learn the intermediate exercise method? Speaking of this question, Sarah's glasses lit up. Sarah, who usually wears black-rimmed glasses and has an expressionless face, now shows some signs of madness. I'm very interested in totemology, archaeology, paleontological remains. Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement. I heard that you have been looking for knowledge about this. I have wanted to know you for a long time. So that's what happened. Will patted his head. Why are you so interested in this area of knowledge? Especially totemology? Talking about the things of interest, all Sarah's shyness disappeared. Why would Will want to know about totems? Why are you interested in paleontological remains? Why do you care so much about altars, formations, and rituals? Everything stems from Rep's death. What is the small altar in the lair of the four-armed ghost ape? What are the energy crystals on the altar and the spiritual body inside? Why did Rip die? Will wants to unravel everything, wants to avenge Rip, and wants to eradicate the spirit body in the four-armed ghost ape's lair sideways. Of course, Will not tell Sarah these things. It is rumored that in the distant era when the world was just opened, there were 12 trees of life. These 12 trees of life gave birth to all things in the world. The first worship of life, the first totem, is the tree of life. Yet, Sarah looked at Will excitedly. In the distant era, there were no words and languages. All words and languages are derived from the most primitive totem of the tree of life. To study the history and changes of totems is to study history and explore the truth about the development of all things from ancient times to the present. Said Will. I think so too. Since the original tree of life totem, the totem has extended thousands of branches, which are mainly divided into 3 genres. As if meeting a confidant, Sarah and Will discussed totemology. Sarah's knowledge is truly astonishing. Knows a lot of remote knowledge that Will has never heard of. At the beginning, Will still held a bit of contempt, but gradually, only admiration remained. Sarah's bloodline may be very meager, but bloodline does not affect IQ, and her memory and analysis ability can barely keep up with me, who has practiced clarity. Will sighed in his heart. There are too many capable people in this world. Strong strength is just one of them. It's a pity that strength often represents everything. Without strength, no matter how much you know, no matter how high your IQ is, it will be in vain. The saying that knowledge is power is true. The premise is that you have the ability to transform knowledge into power. If Sarah is not interested in totem archaeological altars, but in other things like potions, the achievement must be extraordinary. There are always many partial geniuses in the world. But in this world where strength is paramount, a genius without strength is meaningless. In the room, the light from the oil lamp became weaker and weaker. The lamp oil is almost used up. Will got up to add lamp oil to the oil lamp. Let's come here first today. We can meet up often in the library in the future. I believe we will have a good talk. Sarah is simply a moving library. If you don't make good use of it, how can you be worthy of yourself? Ah! Sarah stood up reluctantly. Perhaps Sarah has never found anyone who can talk to her and keep up with her thinking since she was a child. Sarah stood at the door, half of her body had already stepped out of the door. Boom! The door was closed at once, but Sarah was still inside. Sarah took off her glasses, revealing her flawless and innocent face, bit her lips lightly, and her eyes were moist. Actually, it's my first time. Chapter 117. In the next 2 months, Will and Sarah studied on the one hand, and the two soared in the ocean of knowledge together. On the other hand, Will has been looking for tasks and choosing a way to earn magic stones. Standing under the mission tower again. Looking at the tasks on the taskbar, Will left disappointed. The best way I can think of now is to earn about 20 intermediate magic stones a month. Will frowned. Not enough, considering that a bottle of star silver liquid can only be used for 10 days, it takes a month to 3 bottles of star silver liquid, so at least 45 intermediate magic stones are needed for a month. Tempering the body with the intermediate exercise method is like doing farm work, and the hands will callous. After a period of inactivity, the cocoon will slowly recede. Therefore, when practicing the intermediate exercise method, one must practice in one breath. Generally speaking, as long as you meet the advanced standard, you can easily become a second-class apprentice. Of course, it is not ruled out that some people misjudged their own strength. It's best to buy 20 bottles at once. If you can't afford that much money at once, it's okay to buy 12 or 13 bottles first. Will sighed, a penny is hard for a hero. Yo, Will, are you coming to the mission tower again? A familiar person said on Will's shoulder. Is it Yoren? Yoren, Monty's good friend, was one of the first 3 people Will met after entering the academy. Some time ago, after finishing the advanced courses, Monty left the academy to do tasks to earn magic stones. It is impossible to come back within 2 or 3 months. Yoren, do you have any good quest introductions? The ones that can quickly earn magic stones. Will said casually. Yes. Yoren smiled mysteriously. Will looked at Yoren in surprise. Originally, I was just asking casually, and I didn't expect to get a response at all. This is not a place to talk, come with me. Yoren led Will into a room with excellent soundproofing. What exactly does it do? Tell me. Seeing Yoren's mysterious and nervous look, Will also became interested. Will, do you want to earn magic stones? Nonsense. How about 60 medium magic stones in 3 days? Yoren asked directly. Snapped. The teacup in his hand dropped, and the tea water flowed down the table, soaking Will's pants. Are you kidding me? Will's eyes widened. Do you think I'm joking? If you agree, there will be a total of 5 people, and the rewards will be divided equally, each with 60 medium magic stones. Yoren said seriously. Can you tell me the specific content of the mission? I'm sorry, but unless you agree, I can't reveal anything about the mission, Yoren said. I refuse. Will shook his head. The task of earning 60 intermediate magic stones must be extremely dangerous. As the saying goes, the harvest is directly proportional to the effort. In the mission tower, let alone 60 magic stones, there are many missions with hundreds or thousands of high-level magic stones. Which tasks are not extremely dangerous? Or is it very time-consuming? It is not difficult to earn 60 medium magic stones in one mission. Earn 60 medium magic stones in 3 days? Hee. Only fools would go. Don't rush to refuse, the danger is not as high as you imagined. Yoren said quickly, the person who announced the task is the senior of our college, and the senior trusts me, so he entrusted such a good thing to me. The reason why the time is so short is because the location of the mission is not far away. Do you want to play with monsters? Will's face was heavy. Near the academy, the only way to earn so many magic stones in a short period of time is to find away from monsters. You figured it out? Yoren admitted. Do you want to die? Among the monsters in the Intis forest, there are powerful existences at the official wizard level. Will felt that Yoren had gone crazy. There are 3 kinds of monsters living in Intis forest. Every kind of monster is much stronger than the 4-armed ghost ape and troll that Will has ever encountered. The idea of fighting this kind of monster is simply courting death. Will hasn't lived enough. Don't worry, there was an agreement between the academy and the monsters. Those powerful beings would not dare to make a move if the situation is not particularly serious, Yoren explained. Even so, among the monsters, there are dozens of 3rd-class apprentices in each clan. Will still refused. We don't need to confront the monsters head-on. Yoren looked at Will sincerely. I promise, there will be absolutely no danger, even if we occasionally encounter 1 or 2 3rd-class apprentice-level monsters, as long as we are prepared, and you will definitely be able to retreat completely. Why did you come to me? Will wondered. You should have night cultivation, right? I heard that your bow and arrow are also very powerful. Instructor Roger has praised you many times, saying that as long as you can survive, you will definitely become a demon hunter beyond him. Yoren said. Just because of this? Based on your understanding of the Intis forest, I'm afraid you are one of the best in the academy, right? Yoren took out a book. This analysis of the dangers and harvests of the Intis forest was written by Ubar? So you know? In order to earn magic stones, Will once called for the attention of publishing a book. So Will looked at various maps, asked a teacher, and finally wrote analysis of the danger and harvest of the Intis forest, and then sold it at the price of 20 elementary magic stones each. A lot of people are interested. In less than a month, everyone in the college had a copy. But Will only sold 7 copies in total. There are few people in the academy, and every magic stone is related to their own lives, and the apprentices have poor moral and legal awareness. The book Will spent months writing was suddenly pirated. Now, no one even bought a copy of a primary magic stone. We need the help of someone who has hunting experience like you, is proficient in pharmacy, and is familiar with the forest of Intis, and Yoren pointed to Will's left eye, your demon, during the adventure, also very useful. You didn't find anyone with night magic eyes? Will asked strangely. Isn't it common sense that there must be a person with night magic eyes for such a rather dangerous team task? There are too few people with night demon eyes, or they are too weak, and they don't want to play with us. Yoren sighed. Can you give me a moment? For the task, Yoren said. Will was a little moved, but for a while, he still couldn't make up his mind. If Yoren was willing to tell the details of the mission in detail, Will wouldn't have to worry about it so much. That's probably why Yoren couldn't find someone with night demon eyes. We'll be leaving in 5 days, I'll wait for your good news. Yoren didn't force Will. After Will left, he went straight back to the room. On the bed, Sarah lay reading in loose clothes. After that night, Sarah moved directly to Will's dormitory, so that it would be more convenient for the two of them to discuss knowledge. Will collapsed on the bed and closed his eyes. Will, I found a trace of the totem you told me about last time. Sarah said excitedly. Oh? It was the pattern on the small altar in the four-armed ghost ape's lair. Hearing this news, Will should have been very happy. I just don't know why. Will's heart is very dull, messy, and he can't interest anything. Sarah, let's talk about that later. Will's gaze was fixed on Sarah's body. Okay. With a smile on her face, Sarah took the initiative to sit on Will. Chapter 118. After exercise. The totem you gave me, some time ago, I finally found some clues from a manuscript in the library. The history of that totem is extremely long, dating back to the age of mythology. Sarah said. Oh? A little bit more than Will expected. Unexpectedly, the little lines painted on the small altar that killed Lei Pu had such a big origin. The legend is related to the Tree of Life, which represents light and hope. Yet, what killed Li Pu and haunted him like a nightmare actually represented light and hope. There is too little information, I only know so much. Sarah apologized. You have helped me a lot. Will stroked Sarah's hair and thanked him. On the wine table. I thought about it all night, and I decided to agree to your request. Will said to Yoren. Will doesn't know exactly what Yoren's mission is. It only takes 3 days to get 60 magic stones, which is indeed very tempting to Will. Perhaps, the opponent is a monster, or a group of monsters with official wizard-level powerhouses. But Yoren and the others are not afraid anymore. What is Will afraid of? Yoren is just a second-class apprentice, his strength is not too outstanding, and he is definitely not someone who can leapfrog challenges. The other partners that Yoren found were only as strong as Yoren. Even under such circumstances, Yoren didn't think it was dangerous and was willing to accept the task, which proved that the difficulty would definitely not be too great. Possibly, some emergencies will happen. The success rate will be much lower. The problem is, Will's strength is far beyond Yoren's imagination. Perhaps in the eyes of Yoren and the others, the situation of death is in the eyes of Will, but it is not so much. So, Will agreed. As the saying goes, wealth and wealth are found in danger, not to mention that the danger does not seem to be very great. Will believes that no matter what happens, there is no problem with self-preservation. Haha, I knew you would agree. Yoren smiled heartily. Now can you tell me the details of the mission? Will asked. No rush, you sign this mission contract first. Yoren took out a piece of leather paper and handed it to Will. You can pick up missions in the academy privately with others. It can also be picked up in the school task tower. In the mission tower, no matter accepting a mission or posting a mission, a contract needs to be signed. With the bondage of the contract, it is equivalent to being supervised by the academy, and one is not afraid of the other party breaking the contract. Will looked carefully at the mission contract. There are only a few short lines on the task contract, which include the name, reward, and task difficulty. 4 people have already signed? You are the 5th and the last. Mission difficulty level B? Actually, the real level of difficulty is only C level. This time, the employer is very generous and paid a lot more. By the way, he also collected points for us, so it was released as B level. Yalun explained. In the college, the task difficulty is divided into 4 levels, A, B, C, and D. Complete different levels of tasks, you can get different points. The higher the level, the more points. In addition to magic stones, points are also an important factor for learning higher level courses. If the points are not up to the standard, no matter how many magic stones you have, you will not be able to learn. Of course, the so-called learning just means that you can't enroll in courses, and you can't enter the classroom to accept the tutor's lectures. You can spend magic stones and learn from others. As for how much you can learn, did the other party hide it, or did the other party understand it wrong? That is your business. The advanced courses are very difficult and have a lot of knowledge. Whether it is for promotion or improving strength, it is very important. So unless it is absolutely necessary, it is better not to find someone to teach at will. Task classification. D level, generally done in the academy, the difficulty is not high, the pay is not high, and there is almost no danger to life. For C level, to deal with some monsters and go to complex and dangerous environments, most of them need multiple second-class apprentices to complete. For level B, at least one third-class apprentice must sit in charge. Grade A, extremely difficult, non-third-class apprentices are not competent. There are no more higher-level ones. Because official wizards don't need points at all, and they don't need to do tasks. For more than half a year, Will has been helping Vertly mentor to refine potions and potions. Although there is no reward, it is also counted as points. After all, there are too few talents in refining potions. Will's current points are already quite high, enough to study some advanced courses. C level is just right. Even if an emergency happens and the difficulty is really upgraded to B level, it can barely handle it. Will showed a smile. His strength happened to be at the third-class apprentice level, and he could complete tasks with B-level difficulty. The employer is Saurus? Will frowned. Saurus Nelson, like Will, was from Imperial Cairo. But the status and talent are not what Will can compare. The Nelson family is one of the 3 dukes of the Cairo Empire, second only to the royal family in the country. The talent of Saurus himself is even more astonishing. Saurus, who is 53 years old today, is rumored to have reached the peak of a third-class apprentice 10 years ago, and is the most promising person in the academy to challenge the official wizard. And his mission? Snapped. Will slapped the contract on the table at once. Can I refuse? Will already guessed the content of the mission. After all, the other party is Saurus, the most powerful and talented third-class apprentice who is preparing to attack the official wizard. In addition, the task is related to monsters. As long as you have a little understanding of what is needed to upgrade to an official wizard, you can guess what this task is all at once. Don't get excited, I didn't tell you the details. Yoren handed Will a cup of tea. Hehe, do we need to talk about such things? Will sneered. Rainbow Potion, an auxiliary potion for promotion to a full-fledged wizard, is worth 3,000 high-level magic stones, and one of its main medicines is yin snake fruit. Guess it? Just the price of the yin snake fruit is as high as 500 high-level magic stones. In the academy, from the first-class apprentice to the promotion to the first-class wizard, all the potions are complete. It's just that there is a rule in the academy. You can buy low-level potions with magic stones. For high-level potions, in addition to paying the corresponding magic stones, 3 copies of materials for refining this potion must also be submitted. This is because the materials for advanced potions are too scarce. Although the magic stone is precious, the accumulation of hundreds or thousands of years by the big family is not a joke. As for potions, they have a price but no market. How much you pay, how much people can buy, the big deal is to keep it. The materials needed for potion refining are all grown in extreme environments, and it takes hundreds or thousands of years to mature. In case there are no materials at any time, and I need advanced potions again. What to do? After all, the academy is not a store, and every kind of potion must be guaranteed to have at least one stock at any time. The things needed to advance to a first-level wizard may only be 10,000 high-level magic stones if they are exchanged for magic stones. However, there are some things that you can't buy with magic stones. Chapter 119. Actually, the rainbow potion is only for auxiliary purposes. In theory, to upgrade to a level 1 wizard, only a bottle of Jinshin potion is enough, Will said. If you only take Jinshin potion, the success rate is only 1/10, and if you add rainbow potion, it can reach a full half. Yoren said. Anyway, I don't intend to do this task, you should find someone else. Will refused. Yin snake fruit is the treasure of the monster snake people. After the snake man takes it, it can greatly improve its strength, and there is a certain chance of advancing to the level of a wizard. Every one of the official wizard level snake people that has been recorded has eaten the yin snake fruit. Regardless of how difficult it is to grow, how extreme the environment it needs, and how heavily guarded it is, just by looking at the price of the yin snake fruit, you can know how precious it is. And the dangers of trying to get it. Things of this level are definitely within the reach of second-class apprentices. Actually, it doesn't matter if you don't need the yin snake fruit. As long as you exchange it with something of equivalent value, the Academy will generally agree if it's in stock, Will said. It's not something we can ask, we just need to do the task. Yoren replied. So my conclusion. Don't draw conclusions so quickly, you haven't heard me tell you the specific content of the mission yet. Need to listen? Will asked in surprise. Yin snake fruit, we don't need to get it, even if we want to, Lord Saurus can't trust us. 2. What we are doing is just assisting with some preliminary work. You only need to sign this contract. I will tell you the specific arrangements immediately. Yoren is not that selfless and great. No one will do a mission that must die. After some thought, Will decided to take a gamble. Okay, I promise. Will signed his name on the contract and pressed the red handprint. Don't worry, I won't harm you. Yoren smiled and took back the contract. Can you tell me now? Certainly. This is Will, our new companion. Yoren introduced to the other three present. Who? Is there such a person in our college? I haven't heard of it. I know him, the author of Analysis of the Dangers and Harvests of the Intis Forest that caused a lot of trouble some time ago, but isn't he a first-class apprentice? He has only been enrolled for a year? Yoren, you can't find anyone with night demon eyes, and even this kind of guy is used to make up the number. There were 5 people present, including Will. 4 men and 1 woman. In addition to Will and Yoren, the other 3 are Locke, Anthony, and Afra. Except for Will, all 4 are second-class apprentices. On the bright side, Yoren's strength is the strongest. His demon seed is the Thunder Leopard, which can already stimulate a weak electric current. If he can successfully advance to the third-class apprentice, more than 90% of him can awaken the talent of thunder and lightning. Oak and Anthony are both extremely tall, and the transplanted demon seeds are all from the ground bear. The last woman, Afra, also transplanted the magic seed in the college, but she was not any of the 3 kinds of the ground bear, leopard, and night magic eye, but a pair of wings. In the academy, besides the mainstream 3 major demon species, there are other options. It's just that the strength and intensity are not as good as the mainstream 3. But that doesn't mean it's useless. Among the different demon species, there are many strange abilities, which are unmatched by the mainstream 3 major demon species. Like Afra's demon wings. Can give Afra the ability to fly in the sky. You know, flying freely like a bird is impossible for ordinary first-level wizards. The snow-white wings fluttered slightly behind her back. If it wasn't for her overly sullen expression and the depressing evil spirit exuding from her whole body, Afra would definitely be able to work part-time as a birdman next door. Yoren, what do you mean by asking this person? Oak, who was the hottest among the 3, was the first to question. Little guy like this, let's go back to drink milk obediently. Anthony laughed. We're not playing games. Afra's face was gloomy. Relax everyone, I have a reason for looking for Will. Yoren stood up to smooth things over. Will himself has a night-level cultivation, and his demon-seeded truth eye is even more powerful in terms of pure insight. Above the night demon eye. Whether you have the strength or not, you have to try it to know. Oak stood up, the muscles on his body tensed up one by one. Out. Yoren, don't get in the way. Afra's snow-white wings stopped in front of Yoren. Oak, Afra, Anthony, you? Yoren's face was extremely ugly. Will, I'm sorry, Captain Yolen, you don't need to apologize, it's understandable that they don't trust me. Will didn't blame Yoren, nor did he blame any of Oak, Afra, and Anthony. After all, his superficial strength is just that of a first-class apprentice. And the demon species happen to be similar to night demon eyes. In their hearts, Will's magic eye must be very limited in improving their strength. With night cultivation and the peak strength of the first-class apprentice, the reluctant junior second-class apprentice fought. The problem is that the next task may have to face the third-class apprentice-level Snake Man. Junior and second-class apprentices will be knocked down if they meet each other. With Will, it's just a slightly better telescope. If you want to explore, do reconnaissance, Afra, who can fly, can also do it, and you don't need to bring a burden at all. In fact, the most important thing is I don't want to share the reward with one more person. If the person Yoren brought was a second-class apprentice with night demon eyes, of course they would have no problem at all. As for Will? Hey, kid, you're really confident, aren't you? Oak rotated his arms like a windmill, making bursts of air-shattering noises, and the strong wind that aroused made Will's clothes rattle. As long as you can survive 20 strokes under my hands, I will approve of you. Oak stomped his feet. Kaka. His feet sank into the marble floor, barefoot. I'll give you a chance to make a move first, otherwise I'll kill you instantly, and you won't even have a chance to make a move. Oak hooked his finger at Will. For you, is the mission only related to strength? Will said. What's the meaning? Don't you guys know my other identity? My mentor is Wizard Volteri. Under my mentor, I still learn some skills in potion science. Will said to himself. You mean potions? The four of them, including Yoren, looked at each other in blank dismay. In the Jalo Potions Academy, except for a few bloodlines who have no life limit, who has time to study potions? Not only does it take a lot of time, but it also requires a lot of talent. In the early stage, it was a very money-burning profession. There is not enough time to do tasks, practice, and study courses, so how about potions? For various reasons. Although the name of the college has the word potion in it, in fact, there are only a handful of people in the college who can really refine potions. Exclude the black stock solution. Unfortunately, Will is one of them. Still very powerful. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he is the number one person in potions below the third-class apprentice. Chapter 120. The four of you are the peak second-class apprentices, and you have all completed multiple C-level missions. Maybe some of you have participated in B-level missions. I think each of you has very rich adventure experience. Will asked. What exactly are you trying to say? Oak, who was already ready for battle, glared at Will with displeasure. Then, do you mind if I test you a few questions? Will pushed the bridge of his nose and found that there were no glasses. Before Yoren and the others could answer, Will spoke on his own. The snake people live in the Guana Falls. They are numerous and powerful. It is very difficult to wander around in the snake people's territory for a few days without being discovered, Will said. What? Are you scared? Want to quit? Oak turned his neck vigorously, making a sound like frying beans all over his body. In adventure hunting, hiding yourself and not being discovered by prey is the most basic requirement. I think you must have made sufficient preparations for this mission, right? For example, breath potions? Will glanced at all the people present. One glance. You've been talking for a long time, just for this? Afra flapped her wings restlessly. There are many kinds of breath potions. The ones you bought are probably cheap ones with dozens of low-level magic stones in the trading area. Will didn't care about Afra's threats. It's easier to expose yourself. You don't think the snake people are ordinary monsters, do you? You mean advanced breath potion? The kind that can change one's own breath, turning the breath into other creatures completely? Yoren interjected. Good. Will nodded. Do you guys know how difficult it is to make high-level breath potions? The technical materials are second. The most important thing is that high-level breath potions are not easy to store. They will expire after 10 days and a half months. If you don't have a potionist friend. Yoren's eyes stared straight at once. Oak, Afra, and Anthony also stared straight at Will. Will smiled and took out 5 bottles of light red potion from his arms. This is the high-level breath potion that I bought yesterday from the snake clan's Shichuo and refined it. As long as the snake people don't see it from the front, I guarantee that it won't be seen by the snake people. Discover. As soon as the 5 bottles of breath medicine were placed on the table, Afra immediately picked them up and looked at them carefully. He uncorked the bottle and took a sip. It is indeed a very good advanced breath potion. It is not a lie that you are a potion master. Afra's eyes changed when she looked at Will. From the previous indifference and ridicule, he became surprised, and there was a trace of deep respect. A real potion master can only be counted as one who can refine official potions. The problem is that there are too few. If you want to refine official potions, you must be a first-level wizard. So gradually, people who can refine some relatively difficult secondary potions are also called potion masters. After Yoren and the others were surprised, Will said again, I heard that the snake people have the ability to control snakes. In terms of snake control, they are much stronger than the beast masters of the green spirits. Moreover, the snake people are also very powerful in refining poison. Will naively thought that with his strong physical fitness and detoxification ability, he could already be invulnerable to all poisons. Until he met the green spirit and was seriously injured by the poison of the green python in the forest. The venom specially prepared by the snake man is only more powerful than the natural venom sprayed by the green python in the forest. Don't think of us as idiots, we have prepared antidotes and serums well, Yoren said. Is there a general antidote? It can indeed cope with most situations, but the recovery speed is too slow, and it is possible for hours or even days. Will despised. What do you mean? Afra looked at Will excitedly. According to the type of toxin, concentration difference, degree of poisoning, physical strength and other factors, the antidote is prepared on the spot. If time is urgent, the ready-made antidote can be fine-tuned. Will said. Have you not? I checked the library in the past 2 days and asked many mentor hunters. I already have a very advanced understanding of the poisons used by the snake people. After speaking, Will took out several bottles of translucent viscous potions. These medicines are all semi-finished products? Afra asked. Will looked at Afra in surprise, but he didn't expect Afra to see it so quickly. That's right. When you are poisoned, I will consider the comprehensive situation of all aspects and process the medicine into a finished product. Will nodded. Yoren, Oak, Afra, and Anthony looked at each other, and they all looked like they had found a treasure. Our task is to restrain the snake people and attract the attention of the snake people. Due to the extremely short time, we have to change positions many times in a day and get into battle many times. Therefore, how to quickly recover our physical strength is also very important. Will said. Ahoy! This time, everyone listened intently to Will's words. Do you know how many magic power nodes there are in the body? Do you know how to quickly restore the magic power of the magic seed? After the magic seed is overused, how to quickly ease it down? Will asked one question after another, causing the 4 of Yoren to be stupefied. So, Will wanted to go on. I think Will is a very reliable person, and I support Will's joining. Oak suddenly put his arms around Will's shoulders. I agree. Anthony raised his hand. I agree too. Afra also said. Seeing that the other 3 recognized Will, Yoren breathed a sigh of relief. Originally, Yoren was only interested in Will's Eye of Truth. Yoren still has some understanding of the Eye of Truth, so he feels that Will should have hidden some abilities, and he still has some abilities. But I never thought that Will's potion science was so powerful. It's only been a year. It feels comparable to the 10 years of study of other apprentices. It is only natural for Will to have this achievement. Because before entering the academy, Will was very interested in pharmacy, and he had accumulated a solid foundation for potion science. After entering the academy, the chosen mentor was the only potion master in the academy, Wizard Volteri. More importantly, after Will entered the academy, he hardly practiced. Meditation is also good. Intermediate forging is also good. Various skills are also good. In the past year, Will has basically stayed at teacher Volteri's place except for class, helping to classify, store, and process medicines, and helping to refine potions and potions. Apart from knowledge, Will received no compensation from Volteri's mentor. Among the potions, except for some high-level potions that require the participation of magic power to be refined, Will can mostly refine them. Can have this result. Will's efforts are naturally worthy of recognition. But the teaching and ordering of Vertili's mentor also contributed a lot. We will be leaving in 2 days. Now, let's discuss the arrangement of this mission. After the 5 people sat around the table, Yoren said.